Hello and welcome. This is Rafale, my friends. This is the Choose a Main video for Virtua Fighter 5 Revo. And in this video, we're going to be going through every character in the game, every playable character, and I'm going to tell you basically what they're all about. Why would you want to play one character over another? The characters range through a variety of gameplays and game styles, and, you know, everyone's got their own flavor, right? So let me go through everyone and just tell you what's up with the cast. Now, that said, before we get into it, there's timestamps throughout the entire video, so skip forward to whichever character makes sense for you. Although, if you could, leave a like. This is assuredly going to be a longer video, and likes definitely help a lot. So that said, let's start with the poster boy of the franchise, Akira Yuki. Enter Akira. If you've ever seen anything about Virtua Fighter over the years, it's probably this guy. And here's the thing. Sight unseen, well, he looks like Ryu from Street Fighter. I know, okay? He's Karate Man, right? He has the look. That's just how it is. But here's the thing. Akira is one of the most terrifying characters in all of fighting game history. I know by the look, you don't get that. But dude is like a localized earthquake generator. Everything he does shakes the screen like crazy. Like, everything's bouncing around, everything's shaking. You can always tell when it's Akira, because dude is just terrifying. He's like Godzilla in a karate outfit. And he really epitomizes what this game is all about, because Akira is all about just getting in your face and aggression. Like, hey, say this little mini launcher, right? Lots of characters have little mini launchers. I think it's alright damage. His little mini launcher is plus on block. Plus on block. And speaking of blocking, Akira finds the act of blocking very offensive, so he won't tolerate it. So he can just take your block away. Simple as that. He has moves that are guard breaks. If you block these moves, then he gets guaranteed follow-ups. Like, if you didn't block, then hey, nothing actually happens if you didn't block. But if you do block, your guard gets blown wide open, and then you get bopped. Once again, all about aggression, right? Moves that just remove your concept of guard. By the way, this got nerfed. This was so strong before, and it still is strong, but now you can't get the guaranteed full launcher combos he did before. But don't worry, he still got his better things. Like, this is the quick guard break. He has a move that's a slightly slower guard break as well. That just, if you happen to be blocking, it'll force a stagger. And we call this the guard break of doom, because if you blocked, he gets 70 damage. If you didn't block, well then, like, nothing happens. But if you do block, then you get crushed for it. This guy's a can opener. You can't actively defend against him that well. So that seems pretty strong, right? There's their weaknesses? Well, yeah. You know, he doesn't have much of a low game. Like, this isn't bad, I guess, but it's more of a specialty low. Like, raw low is not so much. And specifically, he's not great at tracking people. Like, if people want to be stepping and evasive, he has stuff, sure, but it's not quite as complete as some of the other characters. That, and I guess his range is all right. He doesn't have lots of stuff to compete from a range, but he's got stuff. But yeah, let's talk some of the elbows here. So his elbows are crazy. Like, the base elbow, forward and punch. This is actually much faster. Well, not much faster, but faster than other comparable characters, like their forward punch elbow style move. His is 13 frames. Pretty much everyone else's is 14 frames, so it's a frame faster. And if his is a counter hit, then you're going to have some monster frame advantage. And that's forward punch. And then you pair that with the other elbow, which is forward punch. This elbow just straight up knocks down. And that's on regular hit. If it hits as a counter hit, it becomes a crumple. And from crumples, well, combos get a lot juicier, right? So it's just the threat of these just very quick elbows. If you do one, if it hits in any form, you can mostly safely go for the other. And if they start hitting buttons, you get the counter hits, and just it's really bad for them. And keeping with the theme of just offense, right? You mentioned back forward punch here, the little mini launcher, that's plus on block. He has quarter circle back punch. This is even more advantage on block. This is a mid, so you can't duck this. This has 1,000,000 active frames. And if it hits in any way, shape, or form, you're going to get some pretty alright damage off it as well. Once again, this is also plus on block, and it's a mid. And keeping the theme going of screw your block, right? It has back forward punch and kick, and this is just a big old punch. And it's also chargeable. And, you know, if it connects, it connects. Like, it'll knock him down. And if it's blocked, the charge version forces a stagger. And then you can start doing a lot of fun things. In fact, also, that's the thing to mention right there. Akira is the master of the Tetsuzanko, the Iron Mountain. So many of his moves will feature some form of just smashing you to pieces with his shoulder. And this can be extra terrifying because this move has special properties if it manages to catch you as, say, a counter hit or side turn, or say both. You may have seen GIFs on the internet, but he can take half your life if he catches you correctly with a sidestep into a counter hit. When I started the video saying that Akira's a monster, it's because of stuff like this. A single hit can take half your life. So that's sort of the essence of Akira. It's attack, 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 plus frames. Very easy combo structure for the most part. He does have some things that are difficult in terms of speed. Okay, this guard break I showed you earlier. Well, about that. You gotta be a little fast, right? You gotta be a little fast. Practice makes perfect. This is an older game. This is before modern design sensibilities kicked in, okay? But it's there, and you can do it. And of course, there's the infamous one-frame knee. You don't want to worry about it. Trust me, it's fine. It's not even a major part of his game plan. You don't need it. So if you're looking for Karate Man, as it were, and you're looking for a Karate Man that's particularly terrifying, Akira had to eat some nerfs in this version of the game, right? He was debatably top 2 before. Now we'll see where it goes. But yeah, he's a strong guy. He's fun. He's the face of the franchise. And he will teach you a lot of what is good in this game, which is mostly aggression. So if that sounds good, Akira's your guy. Now, moving on to Jacky Bryant. Jacky is Bruce Lee. Like, yes, he's white race car driver Bruce Lee, but he's very much Bruce Lee in this game. Jacky is, I would say, pretty straightforward and simple. As far as like move list goes, he's very stringy. He has lots of just built-in strings, a lot of kicked-in strings. Just lots of strings, a lot of offensive options where you can just keep hitting buttons. And when I mean he's simple, there's somersault, there's up kick, there's cartwheel. Up back kick is a very silly move. It's plagued Virtua Fighter players for decades, probably centuries, as the franchise goes on. It's an incredibly fast mid move that goes over lows, and God forbid it counter hits. Like, it even does a different camera angle on top of giving you way more damage to let you know that you're just that stupid to get hit by it. Low level players will tell you it's the best move in the game. Intermediate players will tell you, well, it has some uses, but watch out. Advanced players will tell you don't bother. And the greats, the all-time greats, will tell you it's the best move in the game. Now, just to say, because I'd be remiss if I don't mention this, if Jacky stands perfectly still, he automatically counters punches. And then he does a little Bruce Lee kind of 1-inch punch with a very elaborate animation. It's a hard call out, but it's an interesting one if you can get it. So what makes Jacky Jacky, besides like a lot of the Bruce Lee stuff? Well, he's just a bundle of just very good moves. Like crouch, down forward, hold forward while crouching, punch, which can be just shortcutted to down forward, punch. This is just a pretty quick 15 frame mid move, no advantage on hit. It's a little negative on block, more negative on block than it used to be, because it's very good. It's still safe, though. The thing is, for this crouching, thus evasive mid, it launches on counter hit. You get very good damage off this for being a very low-risk counter hit launcher. It's a bit more than average, and that's not even an optimal combo, and they actually nerfed the damage of it because it's so good. But for Jacky, a lot of situations you get fairly good damage for fairly low risk. And he's got a lot of counter hit launchers as well. Like, he has a groin kick, and this is going to shock you. It already just kicks you in the balls. So if this hits forward kick and guard together, it's a crumple, free combo. And once again, just a wide variety of very interesting, strong moves. Like forward punch and kick. So this move, 14 frame high. As far as it goes on block, it's perfectly fine on block. It's only -2. It's barely negative. Like, you can definitely just challenge after the fact. And it's a lot of reward on hit. So compared to being like 2 frames slower than the standard jab, which is very good, right? What do you get? Well, one, you get a guaranteed combo. If you see it hit at all, and since the animation is fairly elaborate, you have a lot of time to hit confirm this. Plus 13 at minimum guarantees punch kick, which leaves you also at advantage frames. So if you get this, get some very healthy damage, and also it's still your turn. You're still plus. The magic comes on counter hit. Even if it's point blank counter hit, and at minimum is plus 16, and at plus 16 you can go into flash kick, whatever. That's 74 damage off just a little quick high. And if you see the counter hit flash, yeah! By the way, Jacky says yeah a lot. It's kind of the thing. You hear anyone talk about Jacky, they're gonna go yeah. Anyways, yeah. So if you hit this with counter hit at all, minimum, you can cartwheel him for over 70 damage. Thing is though, if you hit it just a little later in the active frames, instead of plus 16, it's plus 17. And plus 17, well, his launcher is 17 frames. And just to show you a basic example, like this is in no way a complex version of the combo. That's still 100, almost 100 damage. And you can definitely get more complex with the other moves we'll talk about in a moment. Also, considering it's so fast, it's not bad for just like doing evasion. Because if you catch him on the side hit with the bonus frames, it's always at minimum on side hit going to be plus 16. And that's always at minimum going to guarantee a cartwheel. Other very solid dependable moves, down punch and kick, a little slower, 22 frames, but it's plus 9 on hit. If it counter hits, plus 15, so free hits. And it's a monster plus 4 on block as well. So basically, like, no matter what, if this move connects, you're winning. A little slower, but if, you know, they're scared, they're blocking, whatever. If you get them on hit, your turn. If you see the counter hit, free combo. On block, it's plus 4, still your turn. You can definitely check them with like a quick forward punch or whatever. Now let's go back to that one kick I talked about. So this is the flash sword kick. So this is not just regular kick, it's hold forward and kick specifically. So here's regular kick, doesn't knock down. Hold forward kick does knock down. The way the game works, you can trick this by just inputting like a quarter circle forward motion, like a fireball motion, and it'll just kind of count as instant hold forward, FYI. So as a move, like, okay, it knocks down. Sure, whatever, not the worst. But here's the thing. At any point during this move, you can hit guard and cancel it, including the frame it connects. And then that makes you recover a lot faster and changes a lot of things. So, say normally, you can't get any combos, like, knocks you down, that's nice. But with the faster recovery, now you can get combos. Not a giant combo, but it does give you a combo off a quick 16 frame high. Now here's the fun part. So it's -8 on block. That's not ideal. And this move does track, by the way. I should have mentioned that earlier. It does track to the sides. But if you do the perfect timing, it's now +3 on block. So +3 on block compared to +8 is pretty significant, right? So if you do quick timing, it's I guess you would call this a just frame. It's not quite as strict as a just frame, but neither is it the easiest thing in the world. Once again, you have to hit guard like immediately as it connects. But then this is a plus on block high launcher. And plus on block high launcher, and you get at least 50 plus damage, if not more, depending on the situation, depending on what you're doing, right? That's very strong. And also, it's very strong for combos. Some of your biggest combo damage is going to come from this because of the fact that it recovers so quickly that you can recover quicker and then go for like bounds or just more follow-up or whatever. So this move is definitely an execution-based move, but if you can get it, and once again, not the easiest in the world, practice makes perfect, but if you can get it, this really is one of the things that turns Jacky into a monster. And speaking of Jacky being a monster, how about just Jacky being annoying? Down back 1 is just a quick little snipey low, 19 frames, under 20 frames, basically unseeable. And he does low profile while doing it, so highs will go over his head. And the thing is, just, you know, like a down punch, counter hit, you'll get a good amount of frame advantage. Not as much as just regular down punch, but you get a good amount of frame advantage if it counter hits. And it has strings attached to it. And these strings will connect as a combo if it's a counter hit. And you can be annoying, like, okay, we got the high follow-up. You can also, if you hold back, go into his slide shuffle stance. And from here, he can do a bunch of little things that are also annoying. Like punch by itself is +16. So that means combos. You can enter this stance manually by just hitting back on all your 3 buttons. But if you go for that quick little snipey low down back punch and just hit back, you go into it automatically. And then, you know, people are like, okay, well, what am I going to do? What are the options here? Actually, that back stance punch will beat anything that's standing if the move connects. Not a natural combo, but they can't stand. So they're kind of incentivized to just down punch you. And then from there, Jacky can actually just whiff punish you. Like, just don't attack immediately and do punch plus kick punch. And that naturally just knocks people down, right? So there's play, there's counter play. It's just about being annoying. Like, if you try to stop it right away, you get bopped. And hey, speaking of annoying options, so we got down back punch and kick. And this can be a string, multiple strings, because once again, he's a stringy character. Lots of various strings, right? But this one's a bit annoying because each part of this string is heavily delayable. You don't have to commit to anything right away. So 16 frame mid starter, and the punch is a natural combo, and the follow-ups are meant to be basically staggered. Like, what are you going to do next? Are you going to be passive? Are you going to do something? Because if you hit buttons, whoops, the punch, it crumples you. And once crumple, hey, free combo. And because it's so scary to kind of wait your turn there, because if you do press something and get bopped and blown up, then all of a sudden, like, okay, do nothing. Oh, go for throw. Gotcha. Or maybe I won't even do the whole string, because once again, since hits 1 and 2 are also heavily delayable, then I can just kind of go from there. Like, since it's so delayable on every hit, you can really take your sweet time, and they got to keep guessing, like, is it safe to do something back just yet? Add to the fact that this also goes into a side slide shuffle. If you just want to really add to the gimmicks, right? That you can just kind of really kind of get in people's heads, like, what's going to be next? It's simple, but it's like good fighting game 101 simple. Just attack, you can stagger, make the opponent scared to hit buttons, and when they're scared to hit buttons, then you can kind of do the silly stuff. By the way, that's how his back forward throw works. Very silly. If it's near the wall, it'll hit the wall instead of landing, and then you can just get another follow-up hit, and then all of a sudden, he does like damage that would make Wolf jealous. So effectively, Jacky is just a bundle of really solid moves. He's a fighting games character. His like mid-low like mix-up pressure is not very high. Like once again, we got this, and a down back kick on guard also isn't the worst low either, because it is low profile and full circle tracking. But the fact that his pressure is so staggerable, his pressure is so safe, like that's kind of what does it, because he can get rewards off smaller hits, like say that forward punch and kick, you know, that other characters could never dream of, such like a nothing hit, or bigger damage off a low risk evasive mid counter hit combo, and other characters cannot get that same kind of damage, or plus on block launchers. Like, he's just really strong at offense and really good at the game. Now, Sarah Bryant, the other Bryant. So technically her fighting style is also Jeet Kune Do like Jacky, but she's not exactly Bruce Lee the same. She's a lot more kick focused than Jacky is. Let's put it that way. And frankly, Sarah's going to be an easy sell. She certainly has a lot of good things, but everything is kind of predicated off the flamingo stance. This is where her bread is buttered. This is everything to the character. Without this stance, there is no Sarah. Like, yes, Sarah has some of the more interesting elbow pressure in the game, as it's very staggerable, has a lot of options. Her base stand kick is amazing because it tracks partially, also launches on counter hit and can lead to very impressive damage. She has a little rush forward mini stance that has a bunch of options, and like it's whatever. She even has like a backdash stance like Jacky, although it has to be done from this. And her backdash punch actually got better than Jacky's, because unlike Jacky, where it's a combo on hit and plus on block, for her it's a combo on hit or on block. It's always plus 15 no matter what. So even if the opponent is blocking literally everything, when you bust this out, yeah, well, she doesn't say yeah like Jacky. She's a cartwheeler as well. And her cartwheel got buffed. It's all window dressing though. Like once again, she's got good stuff. I am going to do a Sarah guide eventually. So check the guide for a lot of the stuff that's not flamingo stance. But let's talk flamingo stance, because this is literally the reason you're picking the character. So one, flamingo stance. There's a lot of ways to go into flamingo stance. So you can enter it raw, sure. Lots of moves automatically transition you into it. And one of the really fun things about that is, say the opponent's blocking yet again, right? The majority of moves that put you in flamingo stance are actually advantage on block. Like back kick. So 17 frames plus 4 on block. And Lord forbid it actually hits and it's plus 6. Lord forbid it hits as a counter hit, because then we just go into a string, get a free mini combo, and then still puts us in plus frames in flamingo stance. And truly, Lord forbid if you're any kind of crouching, because it staggers crouchers. So if you get staggered, well, when you know it, she has a launcher from there, and well, the rest kind of writes itself. That's just the things that get her into it. The moves that get her into the stance are some of her best moves. And then once you're actually in flamingo stance to begin with, like, I'll just bust it down to the most basic part. She has down forward kick. It's a 17 frame mid. It automatically crumples on hit. Don't need a counter hit. Don't need anything special. And it's safe on block. And once again, you're entering Flamingo most times with advantage frames, so it's actually can be difficult to beat. And so this is effectively a launcher. Like, it's a crumple, not a launcher, but you knock them down, you're going to get a combo. Lots of ways to go about it. Let your imagination soar as far as getting those combos. Now, fun part number 2. So 17 frame launching mid. Oh, we also have a 17 frame low. And this is a power low. This is a hit grab. If it connects, bam, over 50 damage. For a low, that's a lot. And fun thing, one of her buffs in R.E.V.O is they upped the window to get this, so they made it easier to do. So in and of itself, 50-50. Mid, low, both hit on the same frame. One launches, one's a very powerful singular strike. Great. But Rooflemonger, what if they're going to block everything? I just don't believe in myself. Well, you don't need to believe in yourself because Sarah believes in you. How about unblockables? Now, I know you're saying, wait a second, unblockable? Looks like they blocked to me. And to that, I say, no, they didn't. So she has Flamingo stance, down, forward, kick, and guard. And when she does this, if it connects at all, it doesn't matter if it's blocked. If it hits, great. If it's blocked, great. Because regardless, if it connects at all, it has a hit throw attached to it, and you get free damage. It's guaranteed. There's literally no stopping it. And that's the way I like my moves. If you block, you still get hurt. So she's a can opener in this stance. And she's got other fun things like her just frame triple kicks, which she actually made easier. So this is another powerful low option that leads to respectable damage. Like even Flamingo, if you want to go for like the more basic attacks. Like basic kick is +4. If you try to hit her with lows and knock her out of it, she has a low parry that knocks people out of lows. And from this low parry, then she also gets guaranteed launches. Basically, all this stuff is very, very strong. It's the kind of offense you're not allowed to have outside of a stance. So people could just do a lot of this stuff normally. Well, it'd be crazy. So she has to set up the stance, and that's kind of where she wins the game. And wouldn't you know it, setting up the stance is what she's golden at. Because here's the thing. This is not a character you can afford to stay on the ground with, because she can literally launch you from the ground. So you have to tech roll. And when I knock you down and you tech roll, well, aha, wake up into Flamingo stance, right? So that's kind of the essence. She can very easily attack you with powerful Flamingo attacks as you wake up. And you can't afford to not tech roll into these setups, because if you don't, she can launch you while grounded. And then, like, you have to, kind of. Other fun little buffs while we're out here. So she has a mini stance from Flamingo where she'll kind of do a little Lindy hop, right? And from here, she gets a grappler class throw. This is like a catch throw. You cannot tech this. So if I do my little Lindy hop, that's guaranteed. You had to not be in the way. And she even has a second one that's like very elaborate on the animation, right? So this got buffed. So one, if you're near a lower wall, it's an automatic ring out. Even against like Taka, the Sumo, it's a guaranteed ring out every time. And these throws now interact with the wall. So at minimum, you actually get like follow-ups and stuff now. So it makes it just hurt more, sure. So Sarah's really simple in the end. Everything leads into Flamingo stance. And from Flamingo stance, you don't get a million attacks or nothing, but all the attacks are like some of the best attacks in the game. Because mid, crumples, low power launchers, full on actually unblockable moves that aren't like 60 frames. Or like most of the things that are unblockable or lead to guaranteed damage are slow. This, well, it's not the fastest move. It's not slow like the rest. You will 100% catch people, especially because it's a mid. So even if they crouch it, stand, block, get hit, whatever, it's happening. They had to have not been in the way for it not to work. And to close off, yo, I know the Samus Aran jokes, okay? She predates all this stuff. She existed before Super Metroid, okay? And there was no Zero Suit Samus back in the NES Metroid. I can tell you, I bought that game. I'm old, okay? So Zero Suit Samus is a ripoff of Sarah, not the other way around. Know the lore, because that's how it works. Now, let's move on to Wolf Hawkfield. Wolf is our local professional wrestler, and you know he's a good professional wrestler because they made sure to make him Canadian. And if you know anything about wrestling, you know that Canadians are the best wrestlers, period. And before we even get to the gameplay part of it, let me sell you on the wrestling aspect. How about an F5, a classic? How about the legendary Burning Hammer, which by the way also does like the most damage of any move in the game? How about some pop-up diamond cutters? How about some big boy lariats? How about the jackhammer? Good quality finishing move here. Angle slams? You got it. What about stunners? We actually had the stunner re-added. It's one of the new things he has in R.E.V.O. He used to have it back in the day. He's got it again. Much the same, he has the pedigree returned to him. So, and I can keep going, right? But yo, he's got some wrestling moves. So it shouldn't surprise you to learn that Wolf's grappling game is a little bit better than the rest of the cast. Once again, sort of a meme, I guess. Virtua Fighter, everyone's a grappler. But yes, Wolf, his grab game is just a little bit better than everyone else's. So if you had to put two people at the top of the grappling list, it'd be Wolf and Taka Arashi, the Sumo. And good for Wolf, actually his grab game got buffed. Things like Giant Swing now do more damage. This is already one of his main moves he was using anyways, now it just does more damage across the board. Another fun thing for the throws is Wolf has faster throws than everybody else. So most throws are 10 frames, which is still fast. It makes it the fastest attack in the game normally. But Wolf has a 9 frame throw in his base forward throw, and they also buffed his back throw to also be 9 frames. So he can get a throw in 1 frame faster than other characters can, and that's a big benefit. And of course he does have slower throws as well, like that burning hammer we showed. That's twice as slow as a normal throw is because it does 100 damage, and that's fair enough. And he's also the master of catch throws. These are throws that cannot be teched and not be escaped in any way, and also beat attacks. And thus, they're quite powerful, right? So they're a little bit slower. It is very strong that if I know I got the read on you and I got the throw, that I can just hit you and there's no way you can get out of it. And naturally, if you're up against the wall, well, he's really good at throwing people against the wall in a variety of ways as well. Now, what's the payoff here? If you're really strong at throws, you got to have a weakness somewhere, right? Well, his striking game, is just basic attacks. It's not very strong. The mix-up is trying to get you with the grabs. The actual mix-up of striking, there's barely any mix-up. Like lows, he has this, just the stock down kick, and he has 4 down kick, which is like the low drop kick, and that's it. That's all the lows he has. He is not here to mix you up with strikes. He's here to get you frustrated and get grabbed and then get dunked on because his grabs do more damage than the other characters. It also helps that he has a lot of specialty grabs, like a lot of attacks that can be turned into grabs, like the Stone Cold Stunner, and those also cannot be teched. He has a wide variety of strikes that if the attack hits at all, the grab is actually guaranteed. So that's the thing, is not so much big mix-up power from strikes, but a lot of strikes, if they just hit at all, you're going to take a lot of damage. This isn't like Evil Ryu or something, Street Fighter 4. His combo game, for the most part, is fairly simplistic, right? You're not busting out the 1-frame links. He's a very workman character. You're here to grab folks, but he does have a lot of interesting utility as well, like charge punch kick. This big old chop actually is pretty damn good as it forces a stagger on hit at all. It's a mid, so you can't duck it. It also tracks one way, so it's actually kind of difficult to avoid. And even if it's blocked, it still forces the stagger. So it's actually kind of easy for him just to get guaranteed damage in regardless. So if you have like that kind of deer in the headlights and you block too much, he can open you up very easily. Along with other fun traits like his command run, which has an unblockable attack, the clothesline from hell. It can also dunk you on your head. Just a lot of fun options around here. And some just fun tools of specialty like edge case utility. Like his raw stance. This is him daring you to hit him. And if you do, say he catches you trying to punch him, right? He puts you in a stance and he has multiple grabs from this stance. He catches you trying to kick him. Much the same here. Oh, you kicked me? Oh, we got multiple grabs from the kick. So if he has the read on you, he can do quite a few things, including he has one of the best ways to deal with the most frustrating move in the game, and that is the crouching punch. Everyone uses crouch punch, and he has a very explicit call out to it. This down punch and kick, and this move only gets crouch punch. And from here, with a little difficult timing, you get the Shining Wizard and get monster damage. Or simply, if you just do the move and hold back, you switch sides. And you switch sides with incredible frame advantage where they're back turned. And through this mega frame advantage, you can either create some mix-ups or just get some guaranteed damage in, right? So he's very interesting. On his face, very simple. His strike game is maybe the most basic in the game. Once again, he only has 2 lows. Like, he's not mixing you up. But he's not here to mix you up the traditional way. He's here to toss you. And he's really, really good at doing that. Now it's big boy season. And let's talk Taka Arashi, the sumo wrestler. Now here's the thing. Taka, compared to everyone else, He is a game in and of himself. He does not, very literally, does not have the same rules everyone else does. He plays by his own rules. Like, hey, your traditional launcher doesn't launch him. It knocks him over, sure, but it doesn't launch him. Taka has his own unique weight system. It's not like the other characters where depending on how heavy they are, the higher or lower they juggle. He just doesn't juggle. If you can knock him over, he simply falls backwards. That's it. Moves that will juggle against everyone else in the game may not necessarily guaranteed to juggle Taka. He might just, like, let alone him falling over like you saw already, he might just not get off his feet to begin with. If a singular hit does not do at least 20 damage, doesn't matter if it launches or not, it won't knock him over. So this move, since it's part of a 2-hit combo, the second hit doesn't do 20 damage, therefore it doesn't launch him. End of story. Now, it's not to say you can't combo him. Things like bounds, when he's falling over, still work just fine. So, like, you can combo him. Like, it's not impossible. It's just, it's more difficult to get him off his feet to begin with. And given the nature of how he falls over for some combos, it's hit or miss, basically, how much you're going to get compared to a normal character. Sometimes it's a strict downside as well, since he's gravity resistant. Most moves that will knock people very far away, as long as it meets the damage threshold, he'll still get knocked down, but he won't get knocked down very far away, as you can see. And that means potentially, depending on the character, depending on the situation, they can actually get combos that wouldn't exist on any other character. So Taka very much a land of contrast. The weight system is a big part of the character. Now, all that said, let's talk about what makes Taka Taka. So he's a big bully for one. He's got a lot of big boy combos, as you would expect, and has a lot of corner carry. He's exceptionally good at ringing people out, as you would expect from a sumo wrestler. Sumo's sort of known for ringing people out. It's literally the whole point of the sport, right? So he's good at ringing people out with good damage. And you get to be a little bit sillier with Taka than compared to some of the other characters. Like the big launcher, it's still super negative, sure. Just like it is for most every character. But the thing is, as we went over with that unique weight system, the punish you might get on Taka might not be as good as it is against other characters. Because he might not get juggled as much or as far, or like, you might not just get as much damage. So he can afford to be a little bit riskier than some of the other characters, because most of the time, the reward if he gets blocked for the opponent isn't going to be as big against him. Now, on top of that, one of the defining aspects of Taka as a character is he's one of the scariest grapplers in the game. Like, his half-circle forward throw does 75 damage, and it looks like he's absolutely ragdolling you. This, in fact, even got nerfed, because it actually used to do more damage. It's one of the changes in R.E.V.O, but still, it's terrifying. And then even more terrifying is the back throw. So, half-circle back gives you a guaranteed combo. And this is like the least of the versions here, 75 damage. You can actually get more. Also, depending on some of the stages you're at, you can change a stock combo to get a lot of extra damage, like a terrifying amount so. Because you can get like wall combos in it, and then that makes it do almost 100 damage, and that's nothing to sneeze at. So for those two alone, his throw game's quite strong. He also has a grab throw, a catch throw, so this initial throw is not techable. And from this, he has 3 options, and you literally just have to guess which one's going to be. So just like Wolf, the grab game is a major aspect of the character. Now for the other stuff, hey, he's very much a sumo, and there's going to be a lot of slapping you around, right? And he's very, very good at that. In fact, stuff like forward punch is really strong because it's just as fast as kind of like the stock forward punch elbow, except it can knock people off their feet. And yes, assuredly, it can definitely ring people out, even over low walls, depending on the angle. Now, here's the thing with Taka. Taka, as we mentioned, is a very big bully, right? He's actually one of the most nerfed characters in VF5 Revo. Like, he got some nice little buffs. Like, he has one really cool thing. His hit attack here, his giant choke slam. The base attack here, down forward punch. And if you get it, well, it's choke slam city. They made that safe on block, so you don't automatically get blown up for attempting it. But other things, like his big wind-up headbutt, that got turned a little bit unsafe, and for good reason, I guess. It's actually really amazing. Like, the base range, as you can see, it hits from pretty far away, but it has this whole aspect where he winds back and makes it like very evasive. He actually moves like the part where you can hit him backwards. So as you're coming in with an attack, he might just wind up and then bop you. And even on regular hit, this move guarantees a full and very damaging combo, including his monstrously powerful back punch plus kick punch. The first hit is throw punishable. Second hit is just actually properly punishable. And why is this a big deal? Well, even with the nerf, it's still very worth doing. It's actually one of the best moves in the game. So it's a 16 frame EX mid. And here's the thing. If this move connects in any way, shape, or form, the 2-hit string will always knock down. It's a guaranteed combo. Doesn't need counter hit or anything. And the thing is, it's hit confirmable. Like here, the opponent is set to randomly block. I don't know if they're going to block or not. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. And I will always be able to hit confirm if the move is getting blocked or not, just based on the hit reactions. The move is very delayable. If it hits at all, you can just hit punch. And the window to hit your second punch, all things considered, is pretty damn long. Like, it's not forever or nothing, but all things considered, considering it gives you a guaranteed combo, right? Like, you'll always get this combo and 70 damage. So it got nerfed, yes, but it's still amazing. Because anytime you have any kind of decent frame advantage, it immediately becomes guess this and combo or die, or stand still and block and get thrown and die, right? Because once again, his throw game is terrifying. He did get other little buffs, like he now crouch dashes as fast as everybody else. This is more high level advanced stuff, but that means he can fuzzy guard like every other character in the game now. He couldn't before. That was actually a massive negative, so that got buffed. But just more sumo things while we're at it. He has the Tachi Eye stance. And funnily enough, on the sumo stage, if you ever watch professional sumo, this is how this works. You have to start here, your stance, and then, well, the match begins, right? So he has some very powerful options from this stance. A move that is full circle tracking, and if it connects at all, full combo. Like, that's it. It's a high, it's duckable, but it is not sidesteppable. We have a good solid mid. We got a tricky little low. And this low, if it counter hits, it will knock him down. So you actually get a little bit of a combo. And if they're being overly defensive, we have a guard break. And from the guard break, the headbutt is actually guaranteed. And then, well, combo city, right? And one of the things here, like stance by itself, whatever, but you can go into it from many of your moves. And then depending on the move, it comes like true frame traps. Like depending on the options, like back, punch, punch and kick. This right here, if you transition stance from here, if you then immediately go for punch kick the charge, no move can beat it. Like they just have to block it. And if they just have to block it, well then go for the guard and like stuff writes itself, right? That's sort of the 101 of Taka. And one other aspect of him being a big bully, he has big counter attacks. So if you try to hit him with punches specifically, it won't work on kicks. He can tank the hit and just like slap you silly. And he also has moves that are armored against punches as well. And this also got buffed as well, so that's really strong. In that it'll always knock down. Before it could only knock down in certain situations. Now it'll always knock down no matter what. And it's lovely because when you know it, gives you a combo, right? So now your armored move also always launches in every scenario. So yeah, Taka, probably the most changed character overall by a lot of factors. He's a very different kind of character now, but he's still Taka, he's still a cool guy. Go out and hug your sumo wrestler today. Now let's talk Vanessa. So Vanessa, I know how the audience works here. You take one look at Vanessa and you're like, well, Rufelmonger. Actually, I've been maining Vanessa since Virtua Fighter 2. You don't need to tell me anything I don't already know. And sure, I know you're the expert, but just in case you need a heads up, right? So Vanessa is, she's a little tricky because Vanessa is a true stance character. And what do I mean true stance versus just regular stance? A regular stance in just about any 3D fighter is, okay, I enter my stance, do a couple moves, stance over, back to regular, right? No. Vanessa is two fully distinct, different characters. Defensive stance where she's standing tall and offensive stance where she's hunched over are two completely different characters. She is two characters in one. It's not that you do the stance to do the cool thing, go back to normal. She is two full and unique characters in one. And that's why she has a very big move list, right? So that's kind of what makes her difficult, is you are effectively learning two characters at the same time. And hey, funnily enough, offensive stance is more offense-based, defensive stance is more defense-based. Offensive stance, if you had to compare it to any character, would be like closer to like Brad, I guess. Defensive stance, if you had to compare it to somebody, would be more like Aoi, I suppose. Not exactly one-to-one, but she gets to do both, right? So she has a very large moveset and has a lot of options. Another fun thing about Vanessa is she is just plain mean and vicious in a way a lot of the other characters are not. She will brutalize you. So let's start with defensive stance, just to start here. So she has some fun traits, like if she stands perfectly still, you touch no buttons, she'll automatically counter punches. That's it. So if you read just a proper normal punch coming your way, just let go of the controller and you automatically counter. You don't have to do anything special, it does it for you. That's pretty fun. Another fun trait of defensive stance is she has a good amount of like big heavy hitting moves that are just advantage on block. Like back punch has an incredible amount of range, really good for smacking people against walls. We have the sledgehammer down punch plus kick. This was actually buffed in this version of the game to be advantage on block. And it's not too big, but you can get like a little bit of a follow-up after the fact as well. And just a lot of weird little mini properties in the moveset here. Like, hey, down forward punch. I know this doesn't look much like anything, right? Except look at the frames here, 10 frames. Oh, wait a second. Stand jab is the fastest attack at 12 frames, and a few people are blessed to have 11 frames. But then she just randomly has a 10 frame strike. It's the fastest strike in the game, and it's only for her, and only in defense stance. Like, it's a high, it's not amazing, right? But it's the fastest move in the game. Oh, by the way, it's just plus on block too. So fastest move in the game and plus on block. Like this in and of itself is a forever frame trap if they don't do something evasive like down punch low, right? This will forever just work. Also, it's not necessarily a counter attack, but if she has the read on you, she can beat basically every move in the game. So if someone's coming and they're just trying to kick you, then you do this move and like, nah, no you're not. This is what we call a sabaki. So it eats all kicks. It has to be a kick specifically. It can't be a punch. But if you know they're going to try to kick you, like say you're fighting Sarah or something, right? This move will eat the kick even if you're at frame disadvantage. And you can use this to bop the enemy and get small combos after the fact. And they also buff the move too, like how it interacts. So that's good. Say someone's trying to punch you. Then she has a different move that's a kick that beats all punches. It's a back forward kick. And you can see here, like the punch animation fail. And also has a string at the end of it, right? So if they try to just hit you with a punch, you can beat all punches. So she can beat all high and mid punches and all high and mid kicks. You just have to know if it's a punch or a kick. And then she has down back punch. Once again, this doesn't look like much, but this happens to beat all lows. So if someone's coming at you, especially, you know, with the hated and feared down punch, this just automatically beats lows. Doesn't matter what kind of low it is. If they did a low, you win. You can see like she's heavily into the animation. My move's coming out well after the fact here, and I still win. That's one of the things about defense. It's just a lot of powerful single hits and a lot of weird defensive traits if you know specifically what's coming. But it's not exactly the combo monster, you know, stance. You still get combo, sure. Like down forward punch and kick, right? The hook. And if you get it, well then, hey, it's combo time. And not bad damage. But combo opportunities are more rare compared to offense stance where now you're in combo city. Hey, do you like plus on block launchers? I know you do. So enter the Superman punch. So the move's a little slower, sure, but like it literally launches you. You can get some combos after the fact and get some pretty respectable damage. And it's plus on block. Only plus one. Actually used to be more plus. Most of the nerfs for Vanessa are in offense stance. Most of the buffs are in defense stance because offense was way better than defense. But yeah, it's still very good, very worth doing. Also, because it's jumping, it goes over lows. And actually, while we're in offense stance, let's talk one of the most nerfed moves in the game, but it's still amazing and you're still going to want to use it. That's her tackle. So her tackle is a throw, and it is a catch throw, which means you cannot tech this throw. If it connects at all, it's going to happen. And also, you can tell just by the animation, but this move is amazing for ringing people out. If you're anywhere near the ledge, because it's a catch throw, they can't tech it, and it's a throw, they can't evade it. So they have to duck it, right? And so good for ring outs, but here's the thing. So you get a bunch of different follow-ups from this. This is where a lot of the savage beatings come from. So once she gets on top, she has 3 choices, and those are breakable. Those are breakable. And it's up to you to guess which one's which, right? But pretty much the damage in every part of this got nerfed. The tackle, the follow-ups, the fact that you can actually, in offensive stance, many of your strings can be canceled into the interceptor, And from the interceptor, one of the things you can do is go into the tackle, right? And also don't do that because you'll bring yourself out. But that's one of the things. Like, there's so many opportunities to land this, either raw or through just a wide variety of strings. And they felt that was too strong, so they nerfed the damage. But still, even with all the damage nerfs, it's one of the best utility moves in the game. It's so great. And also, while we mentioned the interceptor here, so from there, you can also do a lot of different follow-ups here, like punches, kicks. A lot of things are contingent on the threat of the tackle and the throw. So if they try to duck it, then they have like crumples that give you full combos. Kick afterwards staggers them, and depending on how fast they can stagger break, you might get something huge. A big part of this stance as a whole is just that you get so many like ways to keep pressure going. And of course, just the plain viciousness of it all. The animations for her are just very satisfying. So kind of wrap around here. So defensive stance, a lot of good singular striking attacks, lots of attacks that beat other attacks as long as you know what they're going to do. The throw game in defensive stance is a little bit better, like for the regular throws, than an offensive stance, but it doesn't have to tackle. She does get grappler traits like having crouching throws. She does not have the crouching throws in offensive stance. So while you're in defensive stance, just another option to grab people. Offense stance, lots of powerful launchers, lots of powerful counter hit stuff. Stuff like for combos, Death Scythe, Big Head Kick. Looks really satisfying if it connects because you just fall over. And you get some pretty good combos from it as well, right? So, like, combo ability, damage, everything combos is better in offense stance. She has really annoying stuff like down, kick, and guard when on the offense stance. So if it hits as a counter hit, it goes right into her stance. And this is like one of the reasons why damage had to get nerfed. That's 79 damage, right? And that's heavily nerfed damage. You used to do more than that off a single low counter hit, right? Like, that is kind of ridiculous. So damage potential through the roof in offense stance. Not a lot in the terms of like trickery or utility, other than just having the amazing tackle in and of itself. But yeah, it's just pressure, 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 go, 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 intercept stance, cancel them up. Like, offense is offense, defense is defensive, when you know. Also, I'd be remiss not to end off here. Defensive stance does have a little mini stance in that she can go low to the ground. And from here, you can like kick people, get people up and punch them in the face. Like, it's a fun little thing. It's not a big deal, but it's fun. So next up is Shun. Shun is our drunken boxer. And he's also a little bit older than the rest of the cast, but I hope you won't hold that against him. So here's the thing about Shun. When he's on the screen, you can see right here, like plain as day, there's a little bit of a mechanic going on, and that's how many drinks he's got in him. And as a drunken master, the more drinks he gets in him, the better and better and better he gets. And this works on multiple levels. Like, say something as simple as damage. So let me show you the base neutral throw here. So here it says it does 41 damage. Sure. Then we take a couple swigs. You know what? Let's take a couple more swigs while we're at it. And then now next time we're going to go for the throw here. It said 41, but now it says 43. What's going on here? Well, the more you drink, even if it's just by a couple points, the more you drink, the more and more damage you're going to do. In fact, every drink gives them a little percentile damage boost. It's very small. In fact, it's less than 1%, and 0.75%, I think, per drink. But the more and more and more and more and more you drink in, then just the stronger everything keeps getting. Now, see, that throw did 48 damage. Now, we get another couple pair of drinks in us. It's going to do 49. Like, it just keeps scaling up, right? So the more drinks you get, the stronger he gets. Also, the more drinks you have, you unlock moves. The more you get into the fight, the more you get kind of sauced up, the more powerful your moveset is unlocked. In fact, in Virtua Fighter 5 Revo, many of his moves that you unlock via drinks now actually had the cost reduced. You need less and less drinks to get them going. Like, I'm at 33. This is a crazy amount. You would almost never get that in the match. But a lot of the cooler moves that cost drinks now cost less. Like, say that string I just showed you, right? That used to take 8 drinks. Now you only need 4 drinks and you do that string. This string also took 8 drinks. Now you only need 6. This little string is now free. Like, you can do it right at the start of the match before you need a couple drinks, right? So basically, more drinking equals more power. And now here's a very fun trait that's Shun is a bit rare in this game. I've mentioned before that, you know, there's not many strong lows. Well, Shun actually has most of them. Like something like down, back, kick, kick. Just quick low into a knockdown. It's a natural combo. It's doing a little bit more damage than usual because I got some drinks in me, but it's Knockdown low. That's very fast startup at 17 frames, and also has partial tracking. It tracks upwards. And that's it. Like, for a lot of characters, they would never dream of having something this powerful, and yet he has this move as a base normal move. And then, say as a direct complement, this is a 17 frame low, tracks one way. Kick and guard is a 17 frame mid that tracks the other way. So he can like actually true 50-50 you. Like no evading, no nothing, guess mid-low, and you have to guess the correct way. And he has a very strong mid-low game. Like that is how he can open you up on top of throws, and you want to throw a lot. He's not necessarily like a grappler or nothing, but the more you throw, the more he drinks while throwing you, and then the more he drinks, the stronger he gets. Keeping with the lows, he has effectively like a hell sweep combination. So if the first low hits, the rest are guaranteed to hit, and it's going to do over 40 damage, which is very strong. So basically, once you get drinks in you, you upgrade your low game from that to this. And then, while we have a lot of drinks, here's the fun thing about the character. He has effectively, for lack of a more elegant term, he has super moves based on drinks. Because you build up drinks, right? Sure. But he has moves that burn drinks. Like, you will cost yourself drinks. Look at my drink meter here. Just to do it, this takes 4. And this is another low. This is also very quick, under 20 frames, start up. And this is a full-on launcher. Like, forget before where we talked about, you know, sniping little quick lows and it knocked down, which is already amazing in this game, right? He now gets launchers off unseeable lows. And he can get very appreciable damage off it too, right? This is almost unheard of in this game. Now, as you can see, I've already massively went down in my drinks, but this is an option available for him, as this is effectively a super move. Another move that's basically like a super quarter circle back punch. An ultra quick mid-hitting full circle tracking move. So basically, this is going to hit. Maybe they block it, maybe they don't. I don't know, but there's no sidestepping it, there's no ducking it, because it's mid and it tracks and it's fast. You will not find moves like this that have all 3 of those properties, but you will if you have some drinks in you. But the thing is, I can't do that move anymore, right? You need at least 8 drinks to attempt to do this move, and then it costs 2 drinks at that. And we mentioned all the low stuff, right? He has a very strong mid game. Like quarter circle forward punch is a 16 frame mid, well, EX mid launcher. And like there's nothing special about it. Like if you get the hit, you don't need the counter hit or nothing like that. You just get the launch. And like that's also really strong. Although it's not the safest on block, right? Like it's safe, but -8, you don't want to be there. But he also has a super mid if you burn drinks, quarter circle back, punch and kick. That takes 2 drinks, and you have to be at least 8 drinks to do it. And that move, we mentioned here, okay, this launcher -8. This move is +4 on block. +4 on block. So if you go for the launcher and it's a mid launcher and it gets blocked, it's your turn, and it's your turn in a fairly big way. So yes, the drink system, it unlocks moves, it makes, you know, your quality of life better, getting, you know, some better lows, better mids, all that kind of stuff. And it gives you, if you get a lot of drinks in you, some actual like super moves. Like if you have 10 drinks, you just unlocked your best throw. And this throw does a good amount of damage, and it builds more drinks. This gives you 4 drinks if you get it. And as we mentioned here, you know, more drinks equals more damage. So this does successively more and more damage every time you do it as well, right? And once you start building those more drinks, start burning them on your supers, if you will. All this drink stuff is only part of the story. So Shun's got so many like silly stances as well. And a lot of these have like some pretty strong things. Like that's a catch throw that's inescapable. He's got other stances where like he'll lie down, which also has catch throws. And depending on how he lies down, maybe he'll take a little swig, take a little rest, right? And there's just a lot of trickiness. Lots of ways to like pogo around, just be very confusing and tricky, and just confuse your opponent. And a big part of the game for him is, on top of like building the drinks, is just entering a lot of these tricky stances and just really messing up people and making them not really understand what's going on. In fact, one of them got a pretty nice buff in this version of the game. So one of your drinks is normally just punch, kick, guard, right? If you hit forward, it's actually a mini stance. And from this, you can do various attacks. And they gave a monster buff to the spit. So spitting takes drinks, but on hit, it is +15. But on block, it's also +15. And yes, you can transition into this from like various strings, right? So guard break style moves are pretty rare in this game. Like Akira and Lao, I guess. They have good guard breaks. But it was like a rare concept. And now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Shundi he can just get you. If its move touched you at all, he has guaranteed damage. You had to not be in the way. So long story short, drink. Build power. Drink more. Start throwing people to build more drinks. Drink, drink, drink. Unlock your super moves from your drinks. And then while you're at it, maybe just be a little bit tricky and try to confuse your enemy a little bit. All this is the essence of Shun. Enter Jean Kujo. I often call him Karate Sephiroth, as he has a very distinct look that's, well, very at odds with the rest of the cast. Honestly, everyone else looks kind of more like a traditional martial artist, and he looks like he stepped out of an anime. But you know what? Hey, some people like that. So he is our traditional karate user, and he has lots of very simple but powerful mechanics working for him. One of the big things is, hey, do you like holding buttons? He's really good at it. So many moves, many strings, he can just charge at the end. Like basic kick is a basic kick. If I hold kick, now all of a sudden, a lot bigger hit, and you notice it's advantage on block. How about punch, punch, punch? -8. Punch, punch, hold punch, +6. And naturally enough, many of these moves, if like the charge move actually hits you, then you're in extra trouble. Because at bare minimum, usually you can get like a smaller combo from it, right? So it's very powerful. Like it's meant to evoke like a kind of like fight or flight mechanic. Now that you see it, it's charging. Oh my god, I gotta hit a button or I gotta dodge fast. And that's fun because one of his biggest buffs in R.E.V.O specifically is he can do fake outs. Like you hold the move and then he can fake out the move and then change it to a move that catches side steps. And the thing is, when you do it this way, the charge into the fake out, it now leaves you side turn at much more frame advantage. And then he gets mix-ups from this. Like if I side turn you and then you hit a button now with the new buff, I'll crumple you, get a full combo. So like it's a basic mechanic on the surface, but it's a very powerful one. And of course these moves come in like a lot of flavors. A lot of different strings have this. And all the ones that you can charge, like kick, punch, punch, this is chargeable. And everything that can charge has a fake out, some way, some form, right? If you're charging kick, then you hit punch. If you're charging punch, you hit kick. Like, there's just all sorts of ways just to catch people trying to get out of the move, rather than just taking it, blocking it, and then at worst, for them, best for you, it's still your turn, or if they get hit, it's probably a combo. And of course, you know, he's a lot more than just a charge mechanic. He's got a lot of interesting moves, like down back punch is very good evasive low. Also happens to track one way, whereas back punch punch tracks the other way. And just for, you know, poops and giggles, this is also a chargeable move, and naturally also has charge fake out. He's a man with some interesting defensive properties with a lot of different moves. Like, these moves here, he's just kind of going like, oots, oots. Specifically, these get punches and elbows, one for high and mid, the other one for lows. But if you know it's coming, then you can just kind of stop it, even if you're at massive frame disadvantage, as long as you're not actively punishable. And then from there, you just hit punch and follow up, and you crumple them, you get a combo. Add to that, horizontal forward punch and kick. Just automatically deflects punches and elbows as well. And these are highs or mids, so it's a lot of them. And it just actively deflects the attack and leaves you at +20. Now, it's a weird state because it's a +20 that you can actually block. Like, things aren't necessarily guaranteed from it. But then there's one more move that causes a state. So let's talk about the granddaddy. Like, the actual reason, like everything else I said is window dressing. Here's the actual reason you pick this character. Forward punch. That's simple. Just a big old punch to the gut. And it causes the same state that the other move did. So notice that the frame advantage is in orange, +18. So Jean is messed up, and this move is broken and unfair. So here's the thing. This +18, you can't combo from it, but you can enforce a mix-up. They're allowed to block whatever's next, but that's it. They're stuck. And the thing about this is multi-frame. So when they're stuck, that means they're not allowed to evade one way or the other, or maybe do like a specialty defensive move. They are stuck in a true 50-50. There's no way out other than just actually guess. Situations like this, where you just have to guess a coin flip, are actually very rare in Virtua Fighter. Normally, you can always do something. This move says, no, you can't do anything. By the way, this is a 15 frame mid. This is only like 1 frame slower than like the nominally fastest mid. And also has monster range, by the way. It is also safe on block, and it's safe on block that creates monster pushback, so they can't even like begin to attempt to throw you after the block. In fact, most of the time you can just kind of backdash and you're out scot-free. It's effectively all upside, zero downside. And now, keeping the ball rolling. So this special state, whatever the next move they get hit by is a guaranteed counter hit. So let's say down kick kick, which is a low into a high. This is not a natural combo. It would have to be a counter hit to be a combo. Oh, wait. This gives a guaranteed counter hit. All right, so really quick, that's our low. And from the low, naturally, we get a knockdown. You get all sorts of pressure. What are you going to do? How are you going to wake up? We'll see. Oh, and by the way, if this hits again a second time, this forces a crumple fall backward state. And you can combo from this state, by the way. So, in essence, that's already the 50-50 mix. And, of course, there's way more layers. There's more options. There's more things you can do. But, like, the base level, that's it right there. If this move connects at all, is a free 50-50. They just have to guess. There's almost no situations like this in Virtua Fighter, let alone one that is so easy to enforce. And it belongs to this character. So, when you're doing your, like, oots, look at my cool karate move stuff here. And then you're, like, pretending you're a martial artist. What you're actually doing is just screaming like a chimpanzee, just spamming this move, because it's one of the most best and broken moves in the game. Now, once again, there's a million little things why it's good too, but like the real selling point of this character is the big star stuff, and stuff like charge punches, very easy counters, the ignorant forward punch. This is stuff. Also, hey, another fun trait. He's part of the guard break crew. So this move here, back forward punch and kick, it does cause a stagger, not a true guard break. But the problem is, for the opponent, if this staggers at all, there's a guaranteed built-in combo from it. This guy right here, the timing's a little difficult, but if you get it, then it's all guaranteed damage. Shouldn't have blocked. And by the way, say, they don't block. This actually hits. Unlike, say, Akira allows guard breaks, then this still actually connects. Not just a waste of your time. It's a high. It's not the fastest high in the world, but this is guaranteed damage. His throw game is very, very average at best. There's nothing special about his throws. So why risk a throw break when this will get him every time if they actually block? So Jean, very simple, very easy with very powerful mechanics backing him up. If you're more beginner focused, it has a lot of the cool karate moves and then just stuff you can just absolutely spam and get away with. Now, Jeffry McWild, our resident powerhouse. He's a big boy's big boy, the innovator of the go-to-sleep. And don't you say a word, okay? He's doing this before CM Punk. CM Punk confirmed Jeffry McWild ripoff? I guess so. So, Jeffry McWild's a bit of a renaissance man. He's a big-time brawler. Very uncultured moveset, I guess you would say. Like, his moveset can best be described as I'm a foot taller than you and 100 pounds heavier than you, and what are you gonna do about it? He is also a fisherman, a man of the sea, and part of the only real interesting part of Virtua Fighter's lore. So check out the video. It'll change your life. Now, one of the most interesting things about him as far as like R.E.V.O and the balance changes go is they gave him back the Splash Mountain. This is one of his most iconic moves. It does a lot of effing damage. It does 80 damage. So this is one of the single strongest throws in the game, and he has this move in other ways, but it was like kind of taken away as a raw throw, and now he can do it as a raw throw again. So his grappling game, which is already above average, is like he has this, he's got stuff like the go to sleep. His basic back throw is very terrifying as he can aim it, and he can knock you off walls with it. So like it's bad enough if you're up against a wall, he can like power bomb you into a wall, or otherwise just got like a multitude of like wall throws. Like normally this shouldn't be a very scary option against the wall because he has actual wall throws, and yet the reality is this is kind of the scariest option on the wall. Like he gets over 100 damage. Over 100. This is base normal back throw. And once again, he can choose where he dumps you. It can be in front, it can be the side, it can be behind. This is all angled. And he gets combos much the same on the angled throws as well. If he can just make you touch the wall in any way, you will get got. So it's terrifying. Also, he's one of the two characters, himself and Wolf, that do not struggle to lift Taka. Like they get to keep their base animations because they're really strong guys. So Jeffrey is not a terrifically nuanced character. He's very much a big time brawler. And one of the things that helps is he actually has some of the best range in the game. Like back down forward punch is a 2-hitting combo if you hit it right away. It's also very staggerable. So you can just do the first hit, wait, and then see if he hot it, then okay, go for it. Or conversely, on block, it presents an interesting game here. Because the move is so staggerable that if they choose to try to hit a button afterwards, you can just delay and smack them for trying. Like this scenario here, they're just going to jab afterwards. So do you dare take your turn? I don't know. And if you just kind of freeze up, well, then he gets away with it from a very long range. Other fun bully traits that have good range. Forward punch and kick got a very nice buff. So by itself, it causes a crumple. And you don't get big combos, but you do get follow-ups. In some characters, the lighter characters, you will get bigger combos. But still, you get some stuff. Or if you want to sacrifice a little damage, it does give you a guaranteed ground throw attempt. He's one of the characters that does have grounded throws. So while they're crumpling, they kind of have to guess right. Otherwise, they get slammed down. And the move was already safe on block to begin with, but they monster increased the pushback on block, meaning there's basically very little the enemy can do after the fact. So low damage combo starter, sure, but it's not too slow. 20 frames, it's pretty all right. It's a mid, it's evasive, it goes under highs. Like situations where you're at frame disadvantage, you can still steal turns with it, right? So I think this move, not everyone loves this move, but considering it's evasive, it's fast enough, it's safe on block, it got more pushback on block now with the patch. Like things like this are part of like Jeffrey's bully status. Now speaking of bully stuff, toe kick. I know on paper, this looks like actually nothing, but it has a very special follow-up. Oh, it's the splash mountain we talked about earlier. So if you land toe kick, you get a guaranteed splash mountain. Attempt, anyways. So this splash mountain, unlike the base splash mountain, is not techable. It's not techable at all. You can duck it, but otherwise, it's an untechable, unbreakable throw, and one that does 80 damage. So in and of itself, do toe kick, oh, okay, well they do the throw, I'll duck afterwards or whatever. What if it was guaranteed? So if toe kick hits as a counter hit specifically, that means splash mountain's actually guaranteed. This is a 2-hit combo for half your life. So here they're crouching, and it's avoidable. They don't necessarily get a guaranteed throw on a regular hit. Although you do have to crouch, because if you're standing, it's still going to happen. Once again, it's untechable. But once again, crouching counter hit, you can hold down all you want. It's all guaranteed. It's crazy. Like, to get half of someone's life off a simple poke. But Jeffrey, being the bully that he is, gets to do stuff like that. Now, just to field this question off, because this is always one of the most questions asked about Jeffrey, is how do you do it? Because like every other hit throw in every other fighting game is, you do the move, and then when it connects, then you do the motion. It is not how this move works. You do the move finishes, then you do the motion. I know it's weird, but just let me show you here. There you go. So you basically input the motion after your feet are already back on the ground and recovered. In fact, you can do it even after the kick is 100% recovered. You can do this, backdash, and then enter the move. You can do this, backdash, and then enter the move, which creates like this weird scenario where you can teleport a little bit forward. And in fact, here's the secret tech. There is no distance this doesn't connect from. Like, yes, am I literally teleporting to do this? Yes, I am, 100%. If toe kick connects at all, regardless of the distance between the two players, if you successfully splash mountain, he'll go across the entire screen to finish the grab. But yeah, basically, Jeffrey is a big bully character and does a lot of big bully things. There's no subtlety or no style, whatever. He's just a very big man who punches very, very hard and kicks very, very hard. He's certainly not as complex as a lot of the rest of the roster. Once again, toe kick, splash mountain does half your life. Like, he's not here to be complex. And of course, there's a little fun trace to it. Like, he actually has very strong lows. Like, he has advantage on hit low. Those are pretty rare overall in terms of the game. He has this re-added to his moveset, which is great because it does 21 damage specifically. So that means it staggers against the wall. And as we've already shown, his wall stuff is pretty damn good. Like, if he gets you on the wall, it's mostly game over for you. Because even like easy stuff, that's an easy combo. He'll just rip off like half your life. Jeffrey and the wall, specifically. Jeffrey is just one of the most terrifying characters against the wall. Because he has so many ways to just interact with it and just destroy you against it. That's pretty fun. And just to close out really quick, to mention the threat stance. So his little mini stance, there's not a lot of things you can do from it. You see, he's just kind of showing that he's way bigger than you, right? But from this, it's basically a little mix-up engine. Like when he does it, he's got, just attacking strings, He's got full circle tracking moves to hit you. He also has staggers if you block. And also he has a move that just bypasses block entirely, forward punch. If it hits or it's blocked regardless, it knocks the opponent down. And then you get some small combos from it, right? So if you are in a situation where you can get into this with some advantage, it's basically a mix-up engine. We have mids that do a lot of damage. We got like strikes. We got things that'll beat your evasion. And if you block, we got multiple ways to beat your block. So once again, he's a bully. He's a bully. He's a bully. Now, we went from pretty simple in Jeffrey. Let's crank up the difficulty a little bit here with Lei Fei. Lei Fei, he's a stance character, right? Okay, we've talked about stance characters. Some stance characters are very silly, like Vanessa, where she's two different characters. He's going the other way with it. So he has a lot of different stances. In fact, some would argue a bit too many. He has 7 unique stances, and each stance has a bunch of different moves in each stance. So specifically, we have Han Shiki stance, we have Boktai stance, we have Dokuritsu Shiki stance, we have Nahan Shiki stance, we have Surakan Shiki stance, we have Koko Shiki stance, and we have Kyo Shiki stance. And yet, like, I ain't lying to you. Like, I ain't making this stuff up, yo. Like, we got a lot of stances, y'all, okay? And yes, obviously, he has stuff besides the stances, you know? He's got a bunch of things. But the thing is, a lot of his moves will just automatically put you in the stance. Like, you can be doing what you're doing, and just in the course of you playing the game, you will go into a stance. And it's very much to your benefit. Like, say, regular old forward punch. Not a bad move. 16 frames, it tracks a little bit. Not bad. But if you cancel it into Kyoshiki stance, now, instead of -6 on block, not good. How about +4 on block? Oh, very good, right? So a lot of the moveset flows into the stances to begin with, and when you're given the option to manually cancel in the stances from moves, it's usually to your benefit as it changes the frame data to your benefit. Don't worry, he's got a lot of other fun traits too. Like the stances are the moneymaker, but just to shout out some other fun moves like a quarter circle forward, punch, and kick. This bad boy here, a lot of knockback. It actually got a nice buff. So before, it had to counter hit before to knock down. Now if it hits in any way, shape, or form, it'll always combo. And you get a nice little combo from it. Because here's the thing. This move is what we call a sabaki. Any kind of mid or high punch or elbow or anything most everything punch related, as long as it's mid or high, it'll just eat the move. It'll eat the move and it'll give you the knockdown, you get the combo. And now it's just even better because for whatever reason it hits without doing it. You get the combo anyways. That's nice. It's a very defensively powerful move. And hey, speaking of defensively powerful, a lot of stances have a lot of strong defensive properties. So let's go through all the stances here and let me highlight to you some of the things each stance can do. Once again, just keep in mind, during your flow of offense, your various attacks, your various strings, they're going to lead you to all sorts of strings. And of course, naturally, you can kind of just do the old stance as well. So Han Shiki. Han Shiki stance has some interesting properties. Like one, just kick. Kick is a giant launcher. It's a mid, by the way. It is 16 frames, fairly negative on block. And also the stance it puts you in is very defensively powerful as well. So that's really nice, but we'll get to that later. Speaking of on block, so punch. By the way, base punch is 10 frames. Not the usual 12, 10 frames. So that's very good. So punch plus kick is +9. 9 on block. That's monstrous. That's 1 frame away from guaranteeing you a throw attempt on block. So, like, suffice it to say, if they block this, you kind of control the next action that's happening. So, base attack very fast, and if it's blocked, who cares? It's your turn. So, quick high, a stupid plus on block, fast safe mid launcher. How do we top that? How about punch plus kick? The Superman punch. So, this is, if anyone, you ever seen Lei Fei, this is like the move. So, you can hold it, and if you hold it, causes a monster stagger, and it is a mid. And most of the time when it's being set up, it's going to be set up from like further away from the opponent. So they're not necessarily going to be equipped to punch you out of it. So it's an immediate deer in headlights. You got to specifically dodge in time. This is coming. And if you do not get out of the way, you're going to get run over. Now, how about Boktai stance? So you got to be in Hen Shiki stance and then hit down to be in Boktai. And this lowers his profile, so highs will go over his head. And this is a little bit simpler, but hey, how about this? Down forward kick is +5 on block. and just gives you a good knockdown on hit. Okay, that seems all right. Plus on block, knocks down on hit, sure. And punch plus kick is a quite quick EX high. So EX highs will beat crouching moves, by the way, even though they're high. And it just launches. It's a super quick launcher, 15 frames, and also completely safe on block as well. So plus on block or safe on block launch, like whatever, you're winning with these moves. Kyoshiki, this guy is like the mix-up engine. So lots of like guess string in the mids, guess strings in the lows, mid or low. Like you're basically guessing 50-50 for your life when this is starting to come out. Because some of these track, like these launch, specifically on a stage like this, these also splat against the wall for combos. Like this is guess high-low stance. Dokoritsu Shiki! This is everyone's favorite stance, okay? So one thing out of the gate, this stance beats all punches. You just stand still, and any punch is automatically countered. And like some other characters I've talked about, I always like specify, you know, it has to be a high, mid, or whatever. Like, no, this is all punches. Like Hook, he has an actual low punch, right? This is, you see, low. This says, I don't care what kind of punch it is. If you did any punch, you got. That's why, when we go back to stances here, I mentioned Henshiki stance kick, right? Negative, sure, but it leaves you in the stance. If they retaliate immediately with any kind of punch, you blew him up. So while he's like this, a lot of your moves just literally won't work against him. So what do we do while we have the stance, right? Well, one thing we do, down kick. It's decent enough low profiles, and it staggers, as you can see, and puts you in the Henshiki stance. And there's synergy here because, Henshiki kicks the launcher, right? They're staggered. If they don't shake out in time, they get launched. And say somehow, miracle, they shake out in time because it's very tight, then you're back in the stance to begin with. So, have all the defensive properties. And you also have punch and kick, which is a mid. So already, low, mid. Okay, sure enough, right? 50-50. And it's got one of the coldest damn moves in the game. Like, look at that. He is styling on you. Leifei is 100% one of the characters that looks really good doing what he does. Now, keeping the train going, how about Nihon Shiki? So Nihon Shiki, your back's kind of to the enemy. Oh, that's not good. I better attack you. Whoops. This is actually another one. The stance is that's incredibly defensively powerful because of punch plus kick. Once again, doesn't look like much. This is another move that's very defensively strong because basically almost all sorts of high punches or kicks or middle punches and kicks, mids, this will beat all of them. So even though you look like you're defensively weak because your back is turned, you actually kind of have the initiative here because you're going to win. Your attacks are going to beat pretty much everything but lows. Oh, by the way, kick and guard is a leaping attack that beats lows. Whoops. So the one weakness is sort of covered. And there's other attacks like regular kick, a little elaborate, but it staggers. He has a punch kick string as well, puts you in Dokoritsu Shiki stance. Like, once again, stances flow into each other, right? But this is another defensively powerful stance. And hey, speaking of defensively powerful stances, how about Koku Shiki? So usually the best way to enter this is just from forward and kick. And forward and kick is also one of his better moves, as it is a full circle tracking high that's very fast. It's a little negative on block, only -1, but don't worry, because this is another move that if you try to kind of do anything, it wins. Just hit punch. Punch beats all sorts of highs and mids, kicks and punches. See it coming? It just eats the move. That's what Tsubakis do. They eat moves. And then also the crumple. It's combo time if you get the crumple. That's really strong. So once again, pretty much all highs and mids for punches and kicks. Well, sir, I believe I'll go low then. Well, funny story about that is the kick kind of beats all lows. So if you know they're coming with a low, as you can see here, it's like literally just eating the animation. So this stance, it's a little bit more elaborate to get into because you usually have to get into it through like an attack. But its punch beats pretty much all highs and mids, and kick beats pretty much all lows. I keep saying it, but once again, a lot of these stances are just simply very defensively powerful. You balls in your court when you're assuming a funny pose. And our last stance is Shuriken Shiki. So there's a few ways to get into it. This is the lie down stance. You can go to it from other stances. There's a couple of attacks that kind of put you into it as well. And when you're in it, it's pretty simple. Punch just automatically crumples. And once again, anything that crumples, well, combos, right? And we also got little quick lows that stagger the opponent and then kind of put you back standing, or big elaborate kicks, or just kind of flip up kicks as well. It's not a terribly elaborate stance. It's not as important as the others, but it is a stance. So yes, the stance-based character can be a little tricky because, well, stances can be a little tricky, right? But they're very rewarding because they all have their own very powerful strengths. And a lot of your game plan is just doing whatever you're going to do, flowing into the stances. And each stance can flow into each stance, and most of your strings flow into the stances. And then the strings will flow back into it. Like, it all blends together. It's a little complex. It's not quite just hitting buttons. But if you like some complexity and depth to a character, Leifei's the guy. Now, next we go to the venerable Lao Chan. Lao Chan, he's seen better days. You know, he's not exactly at the peak of his youth anymore. And if you catch him in his idle animation, he'll start coughing every now and then. Because he's canonically very sick. Cough, cough, you can see it right there, right? And, you know, back when the franchise was newer, he didn't lose his hair color. He didn't start gray. He started getting old and then getting gray. But yeah, he's still the old master. Like, yo, he does the kick, and he holds his arms behind his back all imperiously when he kicks you. He's that kind of character. And no, he's not Tao Pai Pai. They're both based off the same guy, okay? So what makes Lao Lao? Like, well, one, at a beginner level, he's like one of the best mashy characters. Like, if you just want to like hit buttons, like he has the punch, punch, punch strings he's had since Virtua Fighter 1. And like they're coming highs, mids, and lows. And he's got like variations of these as well. Like if you just want to hit buttons, he's a really good character to hit buttons with. And he's not necessarily a character with the speedster trait, but he does have a lot of fast things. Like back forward punch is a 14 frame, very long range knockdown move. And like you don't get the world from this necessarily, but you do get like all right damage. And it is safe on block. He has, and don't quote me on this, I'm not 1000% sure, but I'm pretty sure he has the fastest full circle move in the game. So like you can't avoid this guy. And this move just is great. And also if you do catch someone trying to sidestep this move, but it gives like a special camera angle and everything, just to let you know that you really did good. I like that. I like the reassurance. And he's also a character that has a guard break. So unlike Akira, who got his guard break nerfed, like his is a little slower, but he gets to keep all of his frame advantage. So that means that combo we just showed a moment ago here, like it still works. Like if you block, you get bopped. Block equal bop. That's the creed Lao lives by. Also, actually on the block note, he has one of the fastest stagger moves in the game. So punch kick, if you hold it, it's 40 frames, and if it connects, it's a crumple. Like if it actually hits, great. This is actually one of the moves they changed up in the patch. So if it connects, get like free easy damage. That's not the love. And because here's the thing, if they block, it's also a stagger, and it's a pretty big boy stagger, and it's basically effectively almost humanly impossible to break out in time to stop that launch follow-up. Like at fastest break timing, the bot can only barely do it. The human, very susceptible. Just a move I like. I don't know if I'll not vouch it's the greatest move ever, but considering it's only 40 frames, which I know in the grand vacuum fighting games is slow, but it's much faster than comparable moves. It is also a mid as well, right? So, you know, 2/3 of a second is more than enough time to deer in headlights and like, what? Blink, and you get hit. And on block, stagger, get comboed. On hit, get an even bigger combo. Also, he can hold back and fake out and go to a stance. And his stance is actually very powerful, gives him a lot of really good options. Not the least of which is a lot of his offense flows into the stance. And, well, let's give you an example here. So back, punch plus kick, punch. So a little slower startup, but it is a mid. Also, it has some good range. Lao has very good range overall. And here's the thing. On hit, you can hit confirm it, go into kick. And from that kick, you can hit all three buttons and go into stance at +3. Cool. On block, you can hit confirm the block. One is +1 by itself. Secondly, hit confirm the block, go into stance, you're +3. So basically, no matter what, is your advantage. If you get the damage, great. If not, well, your advantage. And from this, he has a lot of just interesting options, like punch plus kick, just a big blow that blows them away. He has down forward punch, which is amazing. 14 frame mid launcher. That's also safe on block. It's a little negative, but it's safe on block. So in these scenarios here, where you're +3, 14 frames, like nothing they can do can beat it. So if they're inclined to hit buttons, then they get launched, done. And if not, you block, you're safe. Forward and punch is another fairly quick mid, and when you have frame advantage, it's going to beat everything. And this also is a hit grab. There's a cool like martial arts master thing there. Things like kick and guard is a big full circle tracking move, and it has a mix-up built into it. So from stance, kick and guard, you kick follow-up, it's a low, and if you do punch follow-up, it's a mid. They hit on the same frame. So like there's lots of pressure. And of course, now that I mentioned, like most of the time you enter it, you're going to be plus. Pretty much everything you do is going to hit any button they press. So eventually, they hold block. So I already mentioned Lao has guard breaks, right? Well, he's got an even better guard break in this stance. So stance, forward punch and kick is +17. So minimum, you can still get that little like launcher we showed earlier. But you can also do some fancier techniques like a forward punch kick, which definitely is interesting. They changed how it works. So that move, it leaves you back turn, but it got changed so it leaves them side turn. So like the numbers, the frame advantages are very weird. And Lao's got some options from back turn that are interesting. Like, you know, the old Chinese movie back elbow, like all that kind of stuff, right? Also, this guard break, unlike the regular guard break, if for whatever reason it just actually hits, well, they get slammed down to the ground. So it's all upside if they're even a little bit passive once they're scared about your stance, entering your stance, and all the pressure you get from it. Another very solid move from him is from crouching, just hold forward and punch. And it's a fairly long range high. And the thing about this is, oh, there's a lot of things about this actually, but so if it hits as a counter hit specifically, it launches, and you know, everyone loves a good launcher, sure. Also, it has a follow-up, which is also a launcher. This follow-up does not need a counter hit to launch. This is when you're holding down forward punch, just hit punch and kick. And it's very staggerable. So if the opponent, you know, say blocks the first move, you know, okay, am I letting it rock there? Or am I going to stagger if you hit a button, then hit the launcher and launch you? You know, the usual mind games. To me, Lao is a fairly straightforward character. Lots of offense, also offensive potential. He does not like it when you guard. If you like punishing people who are very defensive but don't want to necessarily rely on a throw game, and Lao's throw game is not amazing. He has multiple guard break, that's good. He does have an interesting change to his quarter circle back throw though. It leaves you side turn with +13. So you can get guaranteed hits in after the fact, and then you still have some frame advantage with side turn. So that's not nothing. It's not just do your damage, get out. And he does maintain the old flip over throw. So he does have some of the more entertaining ring outs in the game. But yeah, if you like the Imperious Ancient Kung Fu Master, he's literally this character. He's not too difficult to pick up. His stance, you know, most characters have some sort of stance. His is very valuable, lots of very strong attacks from it. And most ways that lead into it are advantage on hit or on block. So you do it, and then you force the mix-up options from it and go from there. So Pai Chan is the daughter of Lao Chan, and with the familial stuff, they do share a lot of similar traits. Like the classic punch, 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 and the various kick strings. They share all that stuff, and a few other small things. And she is very much Kung Fu girl. Like, hey, she does the thing. So what differentiates Pai Chan from Lao Chan? Well, one of the main things out of the gate, Lao has like the most average throw game in the game, basically. Like, it's nothing special. Pai has like actually quite strong throws, all things considered. Like a 65 damage back throw. She has a 60 damage forward throw. She has a forward throw that leaves them crouching, and it gives her a guaranteed attempt at a crouching throw. And yes, she has crouching throws. That's more of a, I guess you would call a grappler class trait, but she very much can do it. And like that one does 65, this one does 60. Like, these are not light damage throws. So she's much stronger on the throw game. And also, in a weird dichotomy, because she's, you know, generally think people are more throw heavy or slower, she's actually a speedster. She has a faster than average jab. So normally almost everyone's jab, which is like most everyone's best move, is 12 frames. Hers is 11. And it has all the, you know, benefits, advantage on hit plus on block. And she has a 12 frame mid. Most people's fastest mid is 14 frames. She has a 12 frame palm that is a mid. So she can hit you mid faster than just about any other character, meaning she can actually break a lot of scenarios. So for Pai, basically, it means situations where you're neutral on block. Like normally, you know, a down jab, 12 frames. This is 12 frames too and does more damage. So in situations where someone's trying to panic down jab, If you're both neutral, this will win. Like, this will beat it. This is a scenario other characters don't have. Either they got to try down jab back, like do something else back, but this being effectively just about the fastest mid in the game, that's a fun little trait. She also has counter attacks. So if she gets the right read on you, she can counter all sorts of mids and highs. You got to have the read after all, but if you got it, hey, you got it. So basically, she's a really strong grab bag of a lot of traits, and also like stand kick. Stand kick in and of itself is a launcher. It's a 14 frame high that launches. You don't get mega combos on hit, but whatever. You get what works. It's barely safe on block, but it is safe. So not awful for a 14 frame single button launcher. Keeping with sort of the speedster theme, she's very evasive. Like moves like back forward punch plus kick. She will low profile all highs. And if it connects in any way, shape, or form, it crumples. So you get combo opportunities. Down punch and kick as well. As she goes down to the ground, it also evades all highs. Up forward kick kick. This is one of her truly signature moves. So this, 14 frame startup, also fast, also immediately crushes lows because she's jumping. So she goes over lows. Also for what it is, very far range. If you only commit to the first hit, it's barely negative on hit, -5. You get a counter hit if you're lucky. Well, it's a pretty significant frame advantage. +6 is the magic number after all. She has lots of little stances she can do from strings, like Hekesho, you might notice this Hypnotist stance. And from here, you know, we have tricks, we got stuff, we got gimmicks. You know, we got to do our gimmicks, right? Also, during the startup of it, she actually automatically counters punches. So if you're quick trying to take your turn, after when you think it should be your turn, you're actually going to be a very significant disadvantage. She has Boktai stance, and yes, you paid attention to earlier sections, she's not the only character with the stance. Lei Fei also has it all. It's a little different. So for her, she has a lot of different options from it. Like we got this quick little mid here. Well, not quick, like 20 frames. But if it connects, it's +19. From there, you get kind of a lot of damage depending on the character, depending on the weight, right? It's not nothing. Of course, that's a scary option. There's other options as well. Like we have butterfly kicks, which also start combos. This regular punch causes staggers. That's really strong. Basically, it's a nice little stance with a lot of options, like full circle lows. And hey, let's keep going to lows. So she is a character. I almost say she's on the upper level of characters with powers with low attacks compared to like Leon or Shun. But she's got good lows. Like down forward punch is a nice little low starter here. 21 frames, low profiles immediately. And also goes into strings. So you can keep the offense going with your various strings, hit all buttons, kind of leads to the usual stuff. Or you can get tricky with it, because it can also go into the various stances as well, as we showed off here. So just good little check in and of itself. And the fact that it has so much utility, going to back turn, like you can do a lot of things with it. Another really strong low is down kick and guard. A little slower, admittedly, but it's an advantage on hit low that also crushes highs. So as she's going down to the ground, highs will go over her head. If it counter hits, like say evading a high, and then splats them down to the ground, and we have the returning forward punch kick. This hasn't been around for a while. And this scoops them off the ground, free combo. 50 damage on a counter hit low. That's all right. That's all right, right? So like just like pokey little annoying low stuff, she's very good at it. Not to mention she also has full circle tracking lows that also low profile will go under highs. And no combo necessarily, but on counter hit it will knock them down. And if you're a little tricky with that grappler stuff, you can do some setups. Like she even has bully moves, back forward kick and guard. 22 frames, so like all right time, mid, and +4 on block. Like this is a bully move, straight up. And if it hits, combos. You know, not the most damaging combos, but still little combo. Like she's just an incredible grab bag of like all sorts of features throughout the game. And it also helps that she's absolutely one of the most buffed characters in R.E.V.O. Seriously, her buff list, it's something else. Like one of the moves we talked about that goes under highs, down punch plus kick, right? This didn't go under highs before at all. Now it does. Some of her sillier stuff, like her back turn, enter stance here, like this is now plus on block. It was never plus on block before. Like that really strong throw damage we talked about earlier, they buffed it. They buffed a lot of her throw damage. Like Pai's just a very solid character now all around. She can do well at a lot of aspects of the game. She can do a lot of aspects of the game. She can really kind of just cherry pick from a lot of different pots in a lot of ways other characters just can't. So if you want a character that can do a lot of what this game is, she is one of them. Now, we mentioned Pi being a pretty significant receiver of buffs in VF5 Revo. So enter Aoi. Aoi has to be like the single most buffed character in the game. Before, she was definitely one of the worst characters. And now, I'm not going to give you a tier list or nothing, but I think she's pretty alright now. Like, what are the things that got buffed? How about stand kick? So she now has a magic kick, like Sarah. Like, no one in the world is going to accuse Aoi of being like the most combo heavy character. But like the fact that she has a magic kick, so if a kick hits, counter hit at all, it launches just like Sarah. And just like Sarah, it tracks, by the way, too. So you can just get a little bit of damage. Like, that helps a lot. Speaking of buffs, they gave her a buff so big they had to walk it back for this now today launch version. So this move is now -6 on block when it used to be barely negative. Why is that? So they changed it that if she gets a counter hit with this little baby chop, she's now +10, and this move forces crouch. And remember, throws are 10 frames. Oh, and she's a throw heavy character, by the way, and she has crouch throws. So if this little dinky chop hits, time to start getting your limbs broken, because she's going to break them. You literally just have to guess now. And she can actually like rip you in half with her crouch-based throws. And that's just off a quick little chop, 15 frame mid. If you get counter hit, guess for your life on the throw break, because you have to. And I can go on and on about the buffs, but let's talk about what she's all about. So Aoi is the queen of defense. She's the Steven Seagal of the game. This is probably a stance you've seen from other characters in other games, and this is her thing. So for one, she has a very robust counter suite. She can counter every move in the game. And I'm not just talking high, mids, and lows. Yes, unlike Akira and Pi, she can also get lows and crush your head. But she can also get the weird stuff. Like this move here. Technically, it's 2 palms, 2 hands. So the other characters can't punch it because they can only counter single palm moves. Doesn't matter to her. There's so many weird categories of moves in this game that can't be countered because they count as their own weird class. It's not in the counter jurisdiction. Like, say, headbutts. And she can counter headbutts just fine. Like, only 2 characters in the game have headbutts, Taka and Jeffrey. And she can counter this, and no other character in the game can. To impress upon you, she can stop even the most edge case stuff. Like, she can counter jumping wall attacks. Nobody else can do that. Wolf's unblockable clothesline? Got it. Jacky's stupid cartwheels? Yes, sir. She can counter literally everything in the game. If she has the read, like she still has to read high, mid, low, like all that, sure, yes, absolutely. But if she has the read, there's nothing she can't stop. Unlike the other characters have limited scope, which fairly accounts for most of the moves of the games, all the edge case stuff that's designed to beat it, she can beat that stuff too. And then she has the Arashi. So just punch, guard, kick, all 3 buttons, and she'll basically automatically beat everything that's a high or a mid and push them to the side. And from this, she gets guaranteed damage. Not going to be tons of damage, but guaranteed damage is guaranteed damage. And she can leave you side turn with massive frame advantage. Or she can like take some quick hits and like whatever she wants to do, right? Either more damage or less damage and pressure. Like if she's got the read on you, this gets it. Now specifically, this is subject to some of the rules though, unlike the main counters. So this will catch all high punches, high kicks, high elbows, mid punches, mid elbows, mid kicks, side kicks. So basically like 90% of all moves that are high or mid. Like, hey, the headbutt we mentioned before, that doesn't beat headbutt, unfortunately. Yes, she can beat headbutt with the right counter, but the catch-all move that gets 90% of highs and mids, it won't get that. Still, very strong, and it catches most options. And if you got the read, you don't need a specific read. You're just aiming for mids or highs. And then you get a little side turn, you get a small little combo. Very nice. So very defensively powerful, and that's not all. There's a lot of specific moves, like back forward punch. So back forward punch, very specifically, beats high punches and low punches. So if you get someone, then you see it goes in this very elaborate, highly damaging move. So if you get the call out, you get the call out, and then gotcha. This only happens if you specifically catch one of those punches. On regular counter hit, it'll just knock them down. Another one, quarter circle forward punch and kick. So this is like a little choppy jab here. So this one's designed to beat all sorts of high and mid punches and elbows. So no kicks. But if you get him, you can see here, it's just going to eat the attack. Like, it'll just disappear. Hit him in the stomach, crumple, combo. Conversely, she also has one that's tailored towards kicks. So back, kick, and guard at the same time here. Hits him a little bit like a mule kick. And you see it just eats that kick. And then it crumples him once again. And this is against high and mid kicks. So effectively, lots of defensive options, either through like actual reversals, passive reversals, or active move that beats lots of other moves. Also, another trait is she's very good at throwing people. Also, one of her buffs is they made that hit throw easier to do. So if you look at the throw list here, this is not a casual character throw list. There's quite a bit. We mentioned before she has a crouching grab. She's also one of the very few characters with throws that hit grounded characters. She also has interesting throws that can like manipulate you. So like forward throw, just like literally forward and throw, you can hit various directions and move the opponent against their will into those directions with decent frame advantage on side turn and back turn. So you can get like guaranteed combos. She has actual multi-part chain grabs. Like you got to do multiple inputs and they do a lot of damage, like 75. Like Taka and Wolf get 75 damage. Like you got to work a little harder because you got to do more inputs, right? But like it's very workable. As you can see here, she also has 360s. Like Wolf has 360s. These generally leave you in very good position versus the enemy, like directly on top of them. And they look good too because like boot people in the stomach and they, you know, like she's got lots of stuff throw-wise. She also has some neat little tricks like Sundome, where a lot of moves you can like do the move or start to move and cancel it. And then if you hold guard while you're canceling the move, then it comes a Sundome move, and it has like special properties, special hits, like that kind of stuff. And if that's not enough, we have gimmicky stuff too, right? So hey, the auto parry stance we showed off earlier, like lots of strings can go into it as well. The thing is, while you're in it, you can actually like do stuff. Like big old kicks that automatically crumple. We have evasive punches. That punch, by the way, is a guard break. Plus 16. So that means even if they block, guaranteed damage. We love that. That's back twirl. There's forward twirl. It has mid launchers. We got lows. We got side twirls that come. Like, we got stuff. With the mountain of buffs she's got and her already existing moveset, she's a very complete character now in a way she wasn't. Hell, they even gave her a sledgehammer move now. Just ignorant mid plus on block kick. Nice. And who knows, if it hits, maybe I'll just crush your skull, because that's the Aoi way. So she was always mechanically interesting, but now I think they gave her buffs to be competitive with the rest of the cast. So the future is going to be very interesting for this character. Now we come to Leon. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, these kind of videos, the idea is I'm here to sell you on the character, regardless of my position on the character. I detest this character. I hate Leon. I've always hated him. He's annoying, he's brash, he does not like older people, and as I get older, I don't like that at all. But maybe the reasons why I find him annoying will sell you on the character. So one, we've mentioned many times in the video now, at this point, you know, lows. They're not as big of a deal in this game. There's a couple, like Shun has pretty good lows, right? This guy has basically all the best lows in the game. So when it comes to like mid, low, you know, 50-50 mid, like this is the guy. So like just down back kick. So down back kick by itself, 16 frame low. You are never reacting to this, ever, ever, ever. 27 damage and knocks down. So knock down off a low, cool, run for, like sure, whatever. Now on top of that, oh, it's a counter hit launcher? What? Like a lot of characters are lucky, the counter hit just knocks them down. He launches people off his counter hit. And sure as sugar, he gets damage off it. And like, this is weight class dependent, but like nothing. That's monster damage. 70 damage for an unseeable counter hit launcher low? What? Now, by a lot of standards compared to everyone else in the game, you would automatically say that's the best low in the game. And guess what? That's debatably not even his best low. He has half circle forward punch. This guy, 21 frames, a little slower, but still like not slow considering it's evasive. It is advantage on hit. Once again, that's rare for lows. Also, it side turns you. So not only are you getting smoked by a low, you're getting side turned. And then you're in all the usual side turn mix-ups. Because once again, side turn, it if you didn't watch the beginner's guide, watch the beginner's guide. Side turn, it takes time to turn around. It takes 3 frames. So effectively, +5 is actually +8. So now this low, if you get hit at all, you're in mix-up city, effectively. Also, hey, he's a fast character, by the way. So he has an 11 frame jab. Only a few characters have 11 frames. Everyone else is 12 frames. So it's literally just better. Also, just in case we need more lows, he's got a fairly quick full circle tracking low as well. Also, he has a very strong, speaking on the mids now from the lows, down forward punch, 15 frame counter hit launcher. And from there, like, hey, damage will not be in short supply. So on top of the counter hit mid launcher, he also has a 15 frame mid knockdown that tracks. And this is also safe on block. And don't worry, we also got full circle tracking mids that are fast. Back forward kick, I wonder what this mid is. -9. Well, it can't be that big. Don't worry though, just a mid launcher. And you get good damage on this completely safe mid launcher. I hate this character. He also has this little mini stance here, and he can go into it from quite a few strings. So he can keep the pressure after the string going. So from here, he has stuff like more tracking mids that also side turn. Once again, his side turn offense is really good. An EX high into another mid that also side turns. So what happens when my silly offense gets blocked? Oh, he has a guard break. What? He has a guard break from this. So, sure, why not, right? You have all sorts of good side turn offense, and then if they keep blocking, you can just open them up anyways. Why not? He even has like a guard break style throw. This is a catch throw, by the way, which is like a grappler trait. Catch throws can't be teched, and they also beat attacks. And he's got all sorts of strings from it. He's got mids. He's got lows. You're being passive when you're worrying about the mids and the lows, and he's got side turn throw gimmicks. They buffed his wall throw damage, by the way, because sure, he needed that, I guess. I guess to be fair, technically this did get nerfed a little bit. It has less active frames, so it is a little easier to dodge if you anticipate it, but still. This character is effectively an annoying mix-up monster that's very difficult to defend against. I've never liked him. I'm not going to be objective here on this one. Everyone else, I'll act nice and pretend like I like him. Him, screw this character. But if my frustration satisfies you, then this might be a character you want to look forward to. Now, Brad Burns. First thing, I'm doing this on Sarah's stage. I accidentally recorded Sarah on Brad's stage, so what's fair is fair. So Brad has mixed the martial arts of punching and kicking together. Some call him a punch kicker. Others might call him a kickboxer or using Muay Thai. And the thing about Brad is he's very pressure-based. So Brad has lots and lots and lots of ways to do whatever given string and then kind of, well, just duck forward. In fact, he has ducking, that's what we call this, duck back, and to the sides, this is called slipping. And these all have different moves. So they're all pretty powerful. And the thing is, once again, a lot of the offense flows into a lot of the offense. So like say ducking, punch, punch. This also goes into ducking, punch, punch, into ducking, punch, punch. Like ad infinitum. You can just kind of chain all this stuff together mostly forever. And it's also evasive. He will duck highs while he's doing all this stuff. So what can he do? Say from ducking specifically. And once again, ducking, he can do it off a lot of strings. This is a good one. We'll talk about that in a second. So like he has launchers, sure. He has ways to force you to side turn against your will at massive advantage. In fact, it's like literally so big advantage. He gets a guaranteed, like it doesn't say that combos, that is unavoidable. That is actually a combo. And he's got very good offensive people who are side turned because his down forward diagonal kick here, if it hits someone counter hit who's side turned, it just crumples and he has a full combo. He's got evasive moves that jump over lows. And one of the big things is he has the clinch. And from the clinch, well, he can just start, well, kicking your head in basically, right? That's kind of the appeal of kickboxing and Muay Thai. So the thing about this, the clinch is a catch throw. So this move cannot be teched. You cannot tech the clinch. If it connects at all, it's happening. And it also beats attacks as a catch throw. Now, once you're in this, he has 3 throws, 3 options to do. And those options you can tech as long as you know which one he's going to go for. But this gives him, like, it's not high damage, but given that once he starts doing this, he has so much pressure, like, this is when you got to start, like, respecting him. Like, to show you an example of how this works, basic. Punch and kick together. He has a quick little double jab. And naturally, this is cancelable to all the various sways and all that kind of stuff. The enemy is set to do a fast jab after the fact. But the frame data isn't exactly what it says on paper, because you're canceling the recovery of your punches into the ducking motion. And now, boom, even though you're hitting a fast button, I get that side turn mid punch I talked about. Once again, that's a mid. So same deal if they hit crouch punch. That evasive property is not going to save them against that mid. So no matter what, like, get side turn and now it's mixed city. So basically, even though you're blocking this move, if you blocked it and you let me do my ducking, it's kind of my turn. Like, yes, absolutely, you can sidestep and all that kind of stuff. There's defensive options, but hey, once again, throws can't be sidestepped. So once you start being extra defensive, that's when he ducks in, grabs you, and then just starts kicking your head in. And lots of strings on block. You can like cancel a move into ducking and then have advantageous moves in a lot of situations. Like this one specifically is just really one of the better ones. That's why I want to highlight it. Like once again, you're not necessarily getting anything. Like nothing combos here. Like even your fast attack from it, right? It doesn't combo, but it's just pressure. Like you're putting them in a bad place. And of course, that's just the ducking, right? Like slipping has punch plus kick, 13 frame high crumple, also safe. Or say you want to, you think they're going to be a little defensive. Slipping, kick, and guard together. It's a semi-tracking kick, plus 8. That's not bad. And also has monster advantage on block, plus 5 on block. Basically, just doing all these various sways, ducks, and dodges is to make the opponent sweat what offense is coming next. And the second they slip a little bit, hey, maybe you chuck them, maybe give them a little toss, especially because it's very easy for him to hit people's side turn. He's got a really cool side turn throw, by the way. And of course, like he's got moves besides that. Like he's got a back four punch is a really strong, very long range, knockdown high. He's got longer chains as well that just kind of keep the offense flowing. And it's up to the enemy to figure out when you're going to stop hitting buttons. Decent little evasion moves as well, like up punch and kick. Crushes lows very easily. And then you get some little follow-ups afterwards. Like to be real, like the main event is all the pressure from the various ducks and dodges and slips, right? But like he has a base moveset too. I just don't want to leave that unmentioned. He also has a very interesting, I don't want to call it counter, but it's basically a move that counters like a very specific type of move. Specifically, it only really works on side kicks. But if the opponent side kicks you, you can like tank the hit, and then you're always plus 15 no matter what. I guess it's like a very Muay Thai kind of thing. Like it reminds me of that scene in Bloodsport where Jean-Claude and Paco are trading kicks. So if you call out a side kick specifically, then you can get some guaranteed damage in. But that's it. Brad's kind of just offense. Once again, so many strings lead into, ducking, slipping, all that kind of stuff. He has all sorts of great moves from this. And if the enemy lets you, and this kind of thing, Brad is about maybe stealing turns he doesn't deserve to steal. Like I do something, and I do something, and I do something, and I do something, and you have to fight back. And then that might not work out because he's already evading 90% of highs because he's already lower to the ground. And he gets some pretty big rewards off a lot of these hits. Also, in R.E.V.O, they added double duck back in. And this has its own set of moves. Like you literally just do ducking twice. And from here, like you just get some moves you cannot get anywhere else. It's not that big of a deal. Like regular ducking is kind of way better. But, want to get in people's heads. It's a good way to do it. If you like simplistic yet effective offense and pressure, Brad's the guy. Now for Eileen, going into R.E.V.O now. It's been a journey. In the beta before R.E.V.O, the new balance, she became like the most hated character in the game. Went from like bottom tier to having infinites. That's been fixed now, but it was something else for sure. So Eileen, why Eileen? Eileen before anything else. You pick Eileen because monkey. Because she fights using monkey style kung fu. And she'll literally claw your eyes out. That's kind of her style. She's a little silly. And a little peppy. And if that's something you're looking for immediately, like this is that character. She's a character that is a speedster. So she has an 11 frame jab instead of a 12 framer. That's always great. She's very lightweight. Another big buff she got is all the very lightweight characters got heavier. So she won't like blow away like a piece of paper in the wind in the juggle. Because she could get weird ultra juggle combos that no one else could get on anybody else. And now she's a bit more normalized. So that's nice. So here's the thing about Eileen. She's very tricky. Also, shout out to tricky Eileen. So she has interrupts and cancels. So these are like actual moves in the move list here. Like you have your interrupt moves, and there's a whole bunch of whack of these, and your cancel moves, and a whole bunch of whack of these. And interrupts can go into cancels, and a bunch of cancels can go into interrupts, and they kind of flow into each other. This is a character not like Lei Fei, where it's just a million mini stances, but more that the stances just always kind of flow into each other. She can kind of just keep going unless you stop her, and she can keep her offense going in weird ways. So let's look at the interrupts. Interrupts is forward and all 3 buttons, and this is monkey stance proper. Down all 3 buttons, and she'll do the splits, and up all 3 buttons, and she'll do the splits. And just before you ask, yes, this will go over lows, and this will go over highs, and actually some mids. Like this move here is definitely a mid. You see, it says middle, right? And yet, I can go underneath it. That's the power of just being extra little. So to give you an idea how some of this offense stuff flows together with the various stances. So each stance, they have their own moves, as you would expect, right? They don't just do the same thing in a vacuum. They all do their own stuff. And say the opponent is blocking. So I'll do monkey stance punch, and that can go into low stance. Okay. Then low stance punch can go into high stance. High stance punch can go into monkey stance. You see where I'm going with this? So effectively, you can kind of keep the offense going in very annoying ways. As you can see here. Also, some of the tricky stuff there, and that also is buff. We'll talk about that here. So she has Akuma's Demon Flip, Street Fighter fans. If you know Street Fighter, you know Akuma. She literally has Akuma's Demon Flip. She can do it either just by itself or as part of the monkey stance. So if she's in the air, this has throw, Demon Flip throw, right? We'll call this Demon Monkey Flip. So this is a catch throw, so it's not techable, and it'll beat attacks. And okay, well, how do I beat this giant leaping claw your eye out monkey throw, right? Well, naturally, you duck, because you can't sidestep it because it's a throw. Except she actually has like a bunch of mids from this as well. So like, you kind of gotta guess. The big dunk option is unsafe. The little kick's actually slightly advantage on block. The move now also gets a lot scary against the wall, because the move will cause wall slumps now, so you can actually get extra damage. So like, that's actually kind of big. That's one of her bigger buffs. Yeah, I like Demon Monkey Flip. I just like the animation a lot. What can I say? Okay, so now I showed you how like a lot of the stances go into the interrupts and into each other. But interrupts, instead of going for the interrupt, you can also go for cancels. So in situations where you can instead, go into one of the stances here, you can actually just cancel into a cancel move, and then these are a bunch of different moves. Like you have cortical forward, which is basically a Superman punch. And you can cancel into this in a wide variety of situations. Basically, everything you can do with stance, you can go into that. Or cortical back punch. And that's tracking string, by the way. Full circle tracking. So if you're worried about they're gonna, get out of your gimmicks and sidestep, that beats that. Of which will be heavily incentivized to sidestep, because that Superman punch is always plus on block. And here's the thing. So I can do this. Actually, the first 2 hits go back and interrupt. So monkey attack, 1, 2, monkey attack, 1, 2, monkey attack, 1, 2, monkey attack, 1, 2. You see what I mean? Like, it doesn't ever have to stop. You can just keep your training your offense forever and ever into like all these various attacks. Like everything flows and everything. Okay, actually, straight up, King of Fighters players, okay? Angel. Like, I know this is like probably like less than 15 people watching this video, but if you understand what I'm saying right now, this is like the Unchained system, but in a 3D fighter. This is how this works. This video is not long enough to go through every single permutation, but rest assured, she has a bunch of moves that go in interrupts. Interrupts can pretty much, most of them go into themselves. Then they have interrupt moves that go into cancel moves, and a lot of the cancel moves can go back into interrupts, can go back into cancel, can go back into interrupt, go back, and so on and so forth. She's not a particularly high damage character necessarily, but her ability to just get hits in, because she just won't stop coming at you, is a bit higher than the average character. She isn't going to play the game normally, if you will. So not high mega damage. She does have her scenarios where she'll get big stuff, but she just has a lot of opportunities to just keep the pressure going and make people just like kind of lose their cool and crack. It also does help that actually a lot of her buffs in R.E.V.O up her damage, so that doesn't hurt. Like some of the very specific stuff, like she has a half wall only throw, and they buffed this to 75 damage. So that's like grappler class. That's pretty cool. Actually, speaking of throws, her big back throw, half circle back throw, that's 65 now. That got a damage buff. Forward throw, this now does 60 from 55. Like Her damage across the board is better. Like, she's a much better character overall. Like, yes, they gave her that dumb infinite. It's fixed now, but guess what? It's +4 on hit. Like, and if the first hit hits, the second hit's guaranteed. And it does 27 damage. That's not bad in and of itself for a low profiling move. Like, straight up, before this patch, Eileen was a joke character. Like, she existed, but just so much was not working in her favor. Like, she had all the tricks, yes, but like everything was so low damage. Now she's hitting a lot harder. She has a lot better frames on a lot of things. It's changed how a lot of her moves work. Like a forward kick is now a tracking move. Her tracking move's always a little suspect. Now this helps out a lot. Forward kick, back and kick is now also a EX high, meaning it can hit people who are attacking while crouching. And this move is always very good by itself, right? Because this forces side turn at +6. So you can do all the side turn gimmicks, and now, you know, it's not a bad move to stop people who are spamming crouch punch. Forward kick and guards, now full circle tracking, another buff to her just tracking stuff. They gave a pretty significant buff to monkey stance slow damage. This is a natural 3-hit combo for 35 damage, which not bad for a low. And the final hits was like a mini just frame. They made that easier to do. I'm not gonna go through everything, but she's a much more worthwhile pick than she was before. She's not like a waste of time character like she kind of was before. Now she hits harder, does everything better, like, and as always, she claws your eyes out. So Eileen, pretty cool. Go Hinogami. So Go is our edgelord judoka, and he's very much a product of the time. Him and Brad came out at the same time. Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. It was a very specific time in the 2000s, put it that way. Anyways, so he actually, in a lot of ways, is very much like Wolf Hawkfield. He does not have a very complex striking game. He's not like very stringy, like say a Jacky is, something like that. Like everything's nice and short. He's a lot more throw focused. He doesn't have as much raw damage on throws as say Wolf. Like a good back throw is 65. Good forward throw is 75. That got buffed in R.E.V.O, by the way. There's more damage now. So like, it's certainly above average, but it's not like the Taka Wolf level necessarily. But the thing is, he has lots of utility. So he's not an amazing striker. His throw game's pretty good, but not one of the best. But he does a lot of interesting traits. He has enough basic stuff to be dangerous, like back forward punch is a good knockdown, and then you get combos from it. He has an up forward punch and kick like Wolf that knocks down. Goes over lows, and you get a little small baby combo afterwards. But then there's stuff like the hit throws. Like, this just looks cool. So back and kick, and if you throw him when you do it, then he just like stomps on you. Like, this is a cool guy thing. He's got an interesting semi-tracking evasive low, down forward kick and guard. So this guy here, if it hits his counter hit, it actually has a hit throw attached to it as well. Just hit throw, and then he just like kind of dunks your face into the dirt, as you can see here. He's very disrespectful. One of the best things is he has a trait similar to Sarah, actually. So forward, kick, and guard. So he has this move that's a high kick, semi-tracking, little slower, sure, but this also has a hit throw attached to it. And, you know, 65 on the hit, not bad, but like Sarah, if this is blocked, don't matter. This throw's happening if you block it or not. So you are penalized simply for blocking it. That's it. Like, this is a high, Sarah's is a mid, but Sarah's also trapped behind a stance. This you can just kind of do whenever. So if the opponent's being a little defensive and you want to reach out and touch him, right? Like, this is a really good way to do it because you get the damage on hit or on block. Speaking of good on hit or block, by the way, he has back punch and kick, which is just a good, decent mid launcher. And actually, you know, from it, you know, you get your combos, like, sure, like as you'd expect. Not bad damage either. But the move is holdable. So if you hold it, it's 41 frames. If it connects, it's a crumple. And if it blocks, it's a stagger. And from the stagger, unless they're fast enough, you can probably get that back forward punch we mentioned earlier. You know, get some smaller combos. I just like the utility of, you know, you have two different moves just based on the hold. And they're both pretty good, right? Speaking of utility, they re-added up or down punch and kick. And it's just basically an evasive little step where he sweeps out on you. And if it hits as a counter hit, then you get even more frame advantage. And speaking of more property stuff, so he has lots of sabakis, moves that eat other moves. So, like, against kicks specifically, many high and mid kicks. Back forward kick just eats them. You see here, like, the move just gets interrupted, right? And then he boots you in the stomach, you're going to get crumpled. And from crumples, well, then get combos. One of his changes in R.E.V.O is they re-added quarter circle forward punch and kick, which is specifically a sabaki. It eats mid punches and elbows. You can see he kind of grabs your hand out of the way when you're in the middle of the move, and just gives you a slap in the face. And it's advantage enough that you can get just, you know, small follow-ups as well. He also has back all 3 buttons Sabaki and down all 3 buttons Sabaki. This one beats basically all high punches and mid punches and elbows. This one just beats all lows. And I think it's a little different. It doesn't do damage in and of itself, but it guarantees his clinch throw, which we'll talk about in a minute. And the low one just leaves you at over plus 40. So that crumple we mentioned earlier is actually guaranteed right there. Also, perhaps most interestingly, he can parry throws, like not tech throws. If you hit all 3 buttons the moment a throw connects, you counter their throw into your throw. So you're not just teching the throw, their throw now becomes your throw, and it puts you back in that stance we mentioned. But I guess we'll talk about it now. So this has been changed up. It's a 3 throw guess, basically. You have 4 throw, you got back throw, and you got neutral throw. And neutral throw just kind of shoves them, creates enough frame advantage for like guaranteed like back 4 punch into a combo. Also, about that throw counter, he has a really nasty option select. So if a move is like exactly -10, that means the opponent has a guaranteed throw attempt. Not necessarily a guaranteed throw, because you can always just tech, right? If you have the right read. But why do that when you can do 2 things at once? Anytime you get thrown, even if it's like a guaranteed throw attempt, you can still do that throw counter we mentioned, right? So if you just simply down, back, and then all 3 punches, or all 3 buttons, right? What happens is, in that scenario, if you get thrown, you'll tech, or rather counter the throw. And if you don't get thrown, you go for the defensive crouch jab. See? I did it. Right? And then, you know, I get my attempt, whatever, sure. The thing with that, then, is say instead, if they try to do a high, I do that instead, right? The window is admittedly a little tight. This is not, it's something you'd have to practice, but it's just an interesting piece of tech that he's like the only character in the game that can get away with nonsense like that, because he has specifically a counter that throws, not just teching the throw, but countering the throw. Once again, as we mentioned at the top here, he's a character with a lot of utility, right? So he's not the best necessarily in any category, but can do a lot of weird things that most of the cast just doesn't have available to him. He's definitely one of the characters where the personality really shines through. This guy is a dirt bag. Like, look at this low wall only throw. He gets up there and just rubs his feet in your face. Like, this guy's he's a rude dude. And speaking of being a rude dude, he's got all sorts of crouching throws as well. Once again, he's definitely a throw-heavy character, and very much reflects in his moveset and his general gameplay style. Also, one of the few characters to have grounded throws as well, so that's just a big part of the repertoire. He is certainly throw-heavy. So if you're looking for someone who's like not too complex on like the striking end of things, you want a more simplistic, just, you know, punch kick kind of style game, but you want someone who still has a lot of tricky stuff and very strong throws, go as that guy. Kage is our resident ninja. Every fighting game needs ninjas, right? So he's our ninja. And yes, he's a ninja in a fighting game, and yes, that absolutely means he has the Azuna drop. He can dunk you on her head. And despite being a very tricky character, you know, and we'll go into it, but despite being a very tricky character, he actually has one of the scariest grabs in the game. He has the iconic 10-foot toss. And like, yes, he actually just tosses you very high up. Some of his moves are, well, you already saw it in the Azuna drop, right? Some of his moves are a little stretching the martial arts realism of the game. They're a little bit more fantastical, but you know what? Ninjas are magic. They can do that kind of stuff. The thing with the 10-foot toss is you can just kind of do whatever combo from it, right? Like, and you can get all right damage, or you can get huge damage. Have a gander at this. That's 86 damage. That's more than Wolf's giant swing, which is like one of the signature throws of the game. And that does 1 point more damage. So it's pretty all right. Not alone the fact that it moves very far. You're juggling. So this move, suffice to say, is trivial to ring people out with. And real quick, we're not a guide necessarily, but just to show you some tech. That knee is down, forward, and kick. It's hard to do normally if you do it right, but you can cheat it by doing basically double quarter circle forward and kick. So when you're doing this, do double quarter circle forward kick, and then you get that knee, and you can get the juggle from there. So now you know. So as our ninja, he's tricky and fast. So fast. He's one of the characters that's blessed with 11 frame jab. There's only a handful of those in the game, And he has just a lot of fast, like good traits, like back punch is a very fast high that tracks, has strings from it, goes into his various stances, which he has multiple. Actually, his regular elbow also goes into his various stances as well. This stance is called Jumanji. Yes, I guess that's. I only know the movie, but maybe he was related to that somehow. Actually, he has a lot of great ways just to hit people or like sidestepping. He has a lot of good anti-sidestep moves like back and kick, which puts him in back turn, which is also good for him, which we'll get into. Or back kick and guard, which is another one of those hit throws. So even if you're blocking, you hear opponents hit the block, right? Even if you block, you're getting got. So it's a little slower, sure, but like it tracks. Even if you block, you're done. Like there's a lot to love here. He's quick and he can bypass your defenses as a ninja should. Other good moves like a down kick and guard, just very fast. Mid also stops tracking, knocks down. He has good traits like back forward kick as a knee that crumples on counter hit. And then just, gives decent combos. He has up forward kick and guard, which is kind of big flippy kick. Unlike some other characters' versions like this, it's a little slower, but the reward on hit is also much larger. He gets a much more real combo. Most other characters just get like a quick little hit. He has cool little bully moves like kick and guard, just a big axe kick. And this is always going to be some kind of advantage on block. And if it hits, then it splats in a way you can get down forward kick and guard and just kind of scoop him off the ground. Once again, this guy's a good grab bag of traits. Speaking of neat things, he has an honest-to-God Shoryuken. And I mean that in more than one way. Like, look at my inputs. It's literally the Shoryu motion. Forward, down, forward, and punch and kick and use Shoryuken. His is a bit more advanced because it has follow-ups, but it does a good deal of damage. And there's a couple ways you can go into it, including from some of the funny gimmicks, because you can just kind of ninja roll. And you can ninja roll into ninja roll into ninja roll, and so I can go like roll, Shoryuken. That's an option. It's a silly option, but it's an option. Also, it has like some real offense from these rolls too. Like they're not just for show. You can do some really decent stuff. Also, he's got some dangerous gimmicks, like say forward punch and kick. So this just side turns you. It's also tracking. Once you can't sidestep this guy. So this move a little slower, but if it hits, it side turns you +5. And side turn's very strong. Watch the beginner guide if you haven't. It's very strong. And he's got a nasty little gimmick off side turn specifically. So if he hits you with a side turn and then specifically does a string forward back punch plus kick and then punch, it's a quick little high-low. And it is a natural combo, which is nice. And it tracks, by the way, and both hits track different ways. It's tracking, right? But with the gimmick, if you're side turned and if you block the high, the low is guaranteed. You literally cannot block. You can hit down and block all you want. You actually can't block it due to the nature of the side turn changing the frame data. So the only way out of this was specifically to crouch block immediately to avoid the high. And then you can block the low. Like look here, it's being done against me right now, right? So I get the hit, sure. Block the first hit, and I cannot block the second. I'm hitting my controller down after the first block. It doesn't matter. If I block the first one on side turn, the second one is guaranteed. You have to, as we see here, actually crouch. And of course, if you happen to crouch, that opens its own set of problems because you'll just get blown up by mids. So, the safe thing to do is block, but right there in that specific scenario, if you block, you're punished and the low is guaranteed. Guaranteed damage is rare. And, he's also the guy that has that hit throw. So, like, he's got scenarios where he can enforce this. All right, so now let's go to those stances we mentioned. So we have Jumanji and we have Shippuden. So one's defensively stronger, one's more offensively stronger. So the thing with Jumanji is it automatically counters punches. Like, it has to be a high punch specifically, but he'll kick you in the back, and he'll basically get guaranteed damage. So the base state gets punches, and it's high and mid punches, I should say. And then he also has an additional counter from here that gets all sorts of high and mid kicks. So if he calls you out doing some sort of like kick-based attack, then you get bopped on your butt. Very negative, and he gets combos. You can also run from the stance, and from this, you get some very elaborate combos. In fact, this is almost like a mix of like Dead or Alive, like Hayabusa and Ayane with the drop kick there. Down, forward, kick, and guard also knocks down the enemy. He hops while doing it, evading a bunch of lows. Stance down and kick, crushes highs when itself goes low with a full circle knockdown. Other fun things from the run, he has sliding, down, forward, kick, and guard, and that can go into hit throw we just saw. Lots of just fun little traits, right? And now Shippuden, once again, more offensive based. So out of the gate, Shippuden, the regular jab's 11 frames as well, right? So it's quick. Forward punch is more anti-evasion, and it's a mid and just crumples. No need for counter hit or whatever. If you get it, they're bopped. Proceed to do combo of choice, basically, for good damage. And what's a good scary mid if not backed up by some scary lows? So more tracking, down kick, lows. And this knocks you down for 30 damage, very respectable. So if you're worried about that big old crumpling mid, then all of a sudden, you know, you're not blocking those lows. And there's a bunch of strings attached to the stance as well. Just regular stance kick, EX high just knocks down as well. Has a back hop and run forward stance. And just like before, like some of those running options. I guess a little basic mix, I guess. But like, basic's not bad. Basic's not bad. At bare minimum, it's just strong mid and strong lows. We mentioned before we go into back turn. So Kage lives and dies by back turn in a way a lot of the characters like couldn't dream of. Like he has catch throws, he has fake out catch throws. So like if you try to duck it, then it'll cancel the catch throw and then go into a stagger mid. He's got like this very gravity defying looking kick that knocks up. He can do some ninja flips behind you to regain positioning. He can, even if you think you're smart, right? He can actually ninja flip into Jumanji stance. So automatically parrying, right? So if you try to hit buttons, you can automatically counter it. It's just a character, like, unlike most of the cast, he's quite comfortable fighting from behind. Like, most people fear it. He's actually got some dirty tricks. So Ninja Boy does the ninja stuff. Shocker, I know, right? If you're in for the ninja experience, Kage's the guy. And to close out, our final character is El Blaze, and this is another wrestler. And he's very much in the luchador speedster vein of things. So before we get to the character stuff, like, let me sell you on the wrestling aspect of the character. So as you just saw, we have Around the World Ranas. We got more regular Ranas, or Frankensteiners, if you will. We got Trouble in Paradise. We got Hammerlock DDTs. We got fake outs into super kicks. We got a lot of stuff involving the wall. El Blaze is a big fan of that sliced bread. He's also effectively the only character in the game that can come from the top rope. He's got the indie work rate special. Even more Trouble in Paradise. He's got a lot of stuff, including the Poison Mist. Yes, sir. So just like Shun, spitting attacks are increased. So this move got mega buffed because at plus 14, it means it guarantees hits on hit. And it's also plus 14 on block. So no matter what, if this move connects, they're taking damage. So yeah, if it wasn't immediately apparent, like he's big on grappling and grabbing. His damage on grabs is pretty all right. It's not high as Wolf or Taka, but he has a lot of utility, not the least of which is the run. So a lot of his strings, you just hold forward and you automatically go into the run. And the run, you just do a lot of things. You have a lot of options, a lot of attacks, including this catch throw, so it's untechable. So you're going around the world. Speaking of untechable, he has an actual unblockable. This kick is not blockable. You have to duck it. He's got very annoying stagger strings from this as well that you kind of just gotta guess. Like, you want to be a little simplistic. It's just a lot of strike stuff and an Omega powerful throw that if you dare to block the strike stuff, the throw is going to get you. And that's kind of one of the calling cards here. So they buffed him a lot. That he also has a sidestep stance. And you can do this now from a lot of things that you could not do before VF5 Revo. And sort of same idea here. You have a bunch of just, various strikes that, aren't bad. And you can do various, hit throws and stuff from. And also, this has catch throws too. So if you dare block the strikes, get thrown. Untechable throws. He's also another character with one of those all upside moves. Back forward kick is a very strong move. So if it connects, staggers, and if it connects, you can cancel on the run. So if at any point it hits, you just get an actual combo. Like, this will go into a crumple, and well, it just kind of writes itself from there, right? Like, the damage is pretty all right. But here's the thing. It's one of those moves. What if you block? Well, if the move connects and they block, hit back, and then he'll bounce off them and run towards them with intense frame advantage. And just like before, run, you can do like all your various run moves from it. Like, you know, just run kick by itself. If you're played at 8, 17 frames, well, sort of writes itself. You can't do anything. And if you can't do anything, you might be incentivized to block. And oh, by the way, remember that throw we keep showing you, right? So he enforces a lot of classic fighting game mix. He enforces a lot of strike throw, because a lot of his throws from a lot of his stances are untechable throws, and they're catch throws. They beat attacks. So if you're passive and you block, you get thrown. And if you dare hit a button, well, then he can blow you up. So it's hard and mixy. He also has some interesting long-range EX highs, like very long range. You'd think being a smaller character, you have very short range, but he can hit you from far away. This also is a hit throw. So if you hit throw, you get some pretty respectable damage off a very long-range poke. And yes, that is a super kick. Being a luchador, so many jumping-based moves. It's very trivial for him to go over lows, because if he chooses to be, he can very easily be in the air. Like up punch and kick's a really strong one, because it causes just, you know, a little bit of a splat when it connects, right? So when you get it, like, you get all right damage. It's admittedly a little negative on block. It's a throw attempt, but, you know, it's 20 frames, quick, evasive, and a bit of a combo. Like, something has to give somewhere, right? That's kind of the essence of the characters. Find ways to just do moves that cancel into run, and there's a lot of them, and now more strings cancel into a sidestep stance as well. Just something to cancel into a stance, get that frame advantage, and then make them scared to hit buttons. Also, if you're so inclined, he's one of the bigger troll characters. Like, he can run, he'll just, like, pass through you, so you can, like, run the ropes as you would if you want to mess with people. And messing with people is, like, half of all fighting games. Naturally, being a more grapple-focused character, he also has a bunch of crouch throws, and he has a crouch throw from the run, because the run, tilt-a-whirl ran is so scary, right? So if you run, you try to avoid it, he can still throw you and hit you with the code red. So, like, he's gonna chuck you. He's gonna chuck you. If you're a fan of wrestling, between Wolf and El Blaze, you're covered. And that is the Choose a Main video. This video has taken a very long time to make. In fact, much longer than I anticipated. So if you could spare a like, please, thank you very much. I'm sure this video has to be at minimum over 2 hours long. So I hope you have learned about the game. I hope you found a character that maybe sounds enticing to you. Virtua Fighter is a truly beautiful franchise. You can get VF5 Revo on Steam for dirt cheap. Rollback netcode, one of the best fighting games ever made. You know, most fighting games don't stand the test of time like this. Like, the few games that could are things like Street Fighter 2, like like actual legendary games, right? Because this is a legendary game, and I hope you have fun with it, and I hope you look forward to Virtua Fighter 6 whenever. I don't know when it's coming out, but at some point in the future it's coming out. So play some VF5 till then. And that all said, my friends, that is the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Virtua Fighter.